This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You are not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Oh, welcome to Rat Castle, progressive chat about theme park magic without the pixie dust. I am Nathan Hartman on this 50th episode of Rat Castle, if you can believe it or not. Not only is it the 50th, but it is our D23 special, which means who knows how long this thing's going to go because there's lots of stuff to talk about. But also, you're probably getting this a little early because we kind of just threw it up as soon as possible. So, with me today to celebrate not only the 50th episode, but also Muppets salvaging weird interactions with corporate executives who do not know how to public speak. This is we have with us, of course, Dave Cobb. Hello, Dave.
Yo, hey everybody.
And we also have Jeanine. Hello, Jeanine.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody time. It's howdy doody time. Sadly, Sarah is still not with us as she is off. I think Egypt has made her the queen now. She's been
Well deserved.
She's taken over.
I think so. She took some pictures at a Pizza Hut that is right next to all of the pyramids, which was the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. To have a window blind that has Pizza Hut on it, and then behind it I think it was the pyramids of Giza. So it's nice to have two of the wonders of the world all in one spot. And then of course to fill in the gap as only he could, because two normal rats equal this wonderful guest. Who is a titan of theme park opinion. How do you like that, Jack? Is that good?
That's fantastic. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is someone who Kevin Perger might talk to because he is from the now defunct Annual Pass podcast, Jack Pattillo. Hello, Jack.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on. I don't think defunct Lane would spend their time on my little podcast, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, and who knows? We'll see what the future holds. I'm just saying, but
we'll see.
Yeah, it could just be a stay of execution. But it's so great to have you with us. One of our faves. And there is news. There's news above news. So let's go to the news. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, as you know, D23 is currently taking place. This is being recorded my time Sunday at 2. So if there's other news that pops out after this, it's not our fault. There's plenty to talk about. But we kind of waited for this morning panel to see if anything would happen, and nothing seemed to. So I think we're safe for the most part. So D23 is currently finishing up their destination D23 in Orlando at the Contemporary Center. And we are mostly going to talk today, a couple bits that came out this morning, but we're mostly going to talk about the different announcements that occurred on Saturday, theme park material for the most part. And there is a doozy of it. But before we get to all that, I just wanted to talk to you guys about your overall thoughts on just basically the D23 event, the show. How do you think it went? None of us were there. I believe we all watched it live, or maybe got information later. I watched it live. Anyone else watch it live?
Portions.
Jeanine watched portions.
The end, basically.
No,
Yeah.
I just caught up through online media.
Yeah, which was plenty. I mean, they'll show you everything. And Dave was sleeping, I'm sure, at that time. It was.
Yeah, I caught up later. I watched bits and pieces
I think it was
later.
Yeah, because it was like 9 our time, so it was crazy. I would not expect the West Coast to wake up for this. But if you didn't see it, we had some interesting zigs and zags. Like it all began with Melody of Hercules music.
Right. Which I approve of. That's one of my favorites. So.
Sure. I guess it's the 25th anniversary of Hercules.
Oh, is it?
What's going on? It's a weird panel to start with Hercules. That seems like the animation side of things that is today. And I would say, and this is my overall, is lots of things used and then nothing with them connected to anything else at all. So Hercules gets this huge thing, and they don't mention why they're doing Hercules. They don't talk about it. They just sing 3 songs from Hercules, and then they're like, all right, let's go do theme park stuff. And you're like, okay.
Was there not, is it being developed for stage somewhere or something, maybe?
You wouldn't know because they didn't say it.
They didn't say.
I would say what Roger Bart is currently Doc Brown in the Back to the Future show up in Broadway. So
yeah,
he was only the younger Hercules, right? He only sang "Go the Distance" and then he pieced out. So
what
I
else,
don't know if
what else do you need to sing though? If
That's
you're
true.
Hercules?
And it's the only song Hercules sings, right? Like the rest.
I think so.
It is. It's the rest of this thing. I know that show back and forth. It's one of my favorites. The wordplay alone is chef's kiss. I love it. But yeah, it's I don't know if they didn't say why. That is an odd choice. Other than it's the anniversary. Like if it's the anniversary and that's the only anniversary they have, maybe that's why they latched onto it.
So say it. Like it's just weird.
Right.
Okay. Jeanine, did you enjoy the house band? Josh Tomorrow, the Josh Tomorrow show with the house band?
I actually only saw about maybe 10 or 15 minutes of it, and I saw it. I didn't even actually see it so much as it was playing and I was listening to it.
You were getting it by osmosis.
So I don't know what I missed.
Okay. Maybe I'm filling you people in, which is fine.
Yeah.
One of the singers from the Muses went over to a band, and she's wearing her Muses outfit and just throws on a leather jacket. And they just had a house band. They just Paul Schaefer'd that shit. Like she's like, and ladies and gentlemen, here comes Josh Tomorrow. And then they play music and she'd be like, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. And then he'd be like, all right, great. And then, hey, like he came out monologue style. Like it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen when it comes to this stuff. Like, and he was like trying to like, hey, I think her name was Mika. Or Micah. I think it was Mika. And he was always like, Mika, how's it going over there with the band? Like he literally like talk showed it. And she was like, it's great over here, Josh. And I'm like, if you weren't on stage, his name is Mr. Tomorrow. There's no way you know him. Like,
right.
He has no connection. You guys maybe met this morning.
Maybe in tech rehearsal the night before.
Yeah. Maybe. But he just comes out and he's just like, and then every single time they have her singing songs, which it probably was better in-house. There's nothing worse than a live band for a live stream. Like, it's always brash and you can't hear it right.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it feels like maybe this show was never meant to be streamed.
It really felt like it.
Like it's like, oh, here's some images come out of it, and then in the last minute, like, oh, we should probably put this online. And so,
well, now that Lug was sponsoring, which by the way, I don't know what Lug is. I still don't know what Lug is, but they sponsored this whole thing. Sponsored by Lug. But it was the weirdest. It was very weird. And then they had like some cues, some joke. You will talk about the joke cues coming up. But I want to talk about, and I'll just go to a tweet that I put out and is getting some a little bit of traction online, thanks to Muppet History on Twitter. But so when it comes to the D23, I said this. So just so we're clear, Disney showed the Muppets in the intro video, brought out the Muppets multiple times, brought out Dave Goelz, had a band play Muppet songs, and announced nothing Muppets. I don't. If you watch the whole thing, it was chock full. Every bit someone came out with. So they had Dave, and I don't remember who plays Piggy. And oh my gosh, I'm blanking on who plays Kermit now. But you know, puppeteer, like very well-known puppeteers. And they rolled out style like on their roll carts and brought characters in to talk about. So like Uncle Deadly came out to talk about Haunted Mansion. The best segment was Sam and Bunsen Honeydew coming out to fight on which was better, wings or pickle shakes for Epcot. And they kept doing these things, but then there was no Muppets. There was nothing. There was nothing. They were just exclusively using them because something I found out the other day. Puppeteers are not part of the Actors Guild, for one.
Right.
And also, I believe Muppet Studios is now underneath Imagineering, or at least in that same cohort of whatever. So they're already on contract or something. But it was super weird to really ramp up Muppets use and then not do anything with them, I thought.
I mean, is this just them playing to the audience? Like they know that like the super nerds who are going to D23 stuff are like, oh, we really love the Muppets, and so it's like, all right, well,
There was a
do some stuff for you
comment
guys.
on Nathan's post where someone said Disney itself is tired of losing money on the Muppets, but Imagineers can use them limitlessly without having to worry about return of investment.
I will say my company is owned by Warner Discovery now, I guess where we are, but like
you're one of Zazzy's babies.
Oh, okay. yeah. We're yay, screw the actors. Anyway, no, that's horrible. Just kidding. That's horrible. I'm all for strikes before I get canceled. Anyway, when we were talking about like what are some, because we're part of this family, it's like what are some other properties we can work with, because like we're under the umbrella of Warner, Big Daddy Warner. And we're like, Harry Potter, they're like, don't even think about it. And but they were like, hey, Scooby-Doo, go nuts, do whatever you want with Scooby-Doo, have fun, like we don't care, you don't even need approvals to use Scooby-Doo. And it's like, okay. So it is weird that like certain things are like, yeah, go nuts, who cares, like we're this property's whatever. And it makes me sad if that's what the Muppets are now for Disney.
Well, what I think is really, really, really strange is they bring Dave Goelz out and they're like, you've been puppeteering for 50 years. Like everyone's clapping for Dave, and he's there for when we'll talk about Figment meet and greet soon. But he's there for that portion because he voiced Figment, of course. And but the thing is like, congrats, Dave. You've been doing this for 50 years. And now we're back to Wilkins Coffee. Like you guys are just selling Disney. That's what you do now. It's because they've been doing they have done a ton of theme park stuff, Muppet wise, like marketing.
If it goes back to Wilkins Coffee, I need a lot more explosions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I completely agree. I mean, this is the thing is it's like Disney Mickey Moused them a little bit, I kind of feel like, because they were even more irreverent for like the Hollywood Studios special back in the 90s. But now they just kind of come out and they're like, this is cool. And you're like, yeah. Because you want that Wilkins vibe, and you're definitely not getting it. Anyway, I got kind of upset about all that. So,
Muppets for no reason other than Muppets.
That's it.
Wow.
Well, it's weird.
Is it like a contractual obligation that they have to say Muppets publicly once a year in order to
legal reasons?
Keep for legal reasons? Maybe it's that. I don't know.
I mean, I don't like if they want to sell me the Muppets for $1, I'll gladly take it. I can make more money out of it than they certainly do.
A whole dollar, an entire dollar.
I mean, as I just said, moving poor right now, so maybe 2 if you give me another month. But anyway, so that's just overall impressions. You guys, if you have an opportunity to go and just watch segments of it, I would recommend it because it's some of the most awkward CEO, or not CEOs, but executives, or like the guy who was talking about the Haunted Mansion. Like, it's like 2 things are going on at once. It feels like maybe they had one opportunity to practice this, but some people didn't. So they are jarred by being in front of the public to begin with, and then they have to talk to Muppets who are, there are people at their crotch level, and they're not sure where to look. And they're trying to figure it out. And the camera, it's like the live stream didn't know anything was going to happen, at all. They were like, just play, like whatever happens, just go for it. Because they had no idea how to frame the Muppets. They were so because they were just wheeling them out. Like there was no like backdrop. You would think they would put them all behind something and then they would pop up, walk the staircase as it were. But no, they just sort of, it was the weirdest thing. So
I do wonder if this was meant to be something that was not supposed to be streamed. And I mean, right. In order to watch it online, was it free? Like,
it was on YouTube. It was just, the D23 YouTube page, they had the stream. And it was like available half an hour before and counting down, and
that's so weird. Like it's just odd to me because it's like, like when you watch Comic-Con and stuff, like Hall H stuff was never live streamed, and it's like, if you like, especially for something like D23, it's meant to be for your super fans and your big Disney and like Disney fans. It's like filter all of your news through them and like the best light you can, as opposed to like here's just a raw feed of what's going on right now. It's like aside from getting to visit Moana, like what's the point of going to that thing? So
Well, and it's not like they're unfamiliar with it. The Star Wars Celebration stuff has been streamed for the last 2 years, and they're really polished, and it's really well done. So
Yeah,
man.
it was messy. Anyway, let's talk about the actual news. Let's just start with Walt Disney World, and we'll go from there. There's a lot going on, people. First of all, let's
Is
just talk
there,
about.
though?
Well, there is. I mean, like, this is the thing. Like, you could say some of this stuff isn't going to happen or not, but like, it's all being put out there. It's all being weather ballooned. I think we should just talk about that right now. I think that's a good point, Jeanine. Let's just bring up the point that I would say maybe 50%, 25% of the stuff they were like, we might be doing it, but we might not. It's all like, I think the tweet. Let me see if I can find it from Disney Parks. They were talking about one of the announcements, which we'll get to, and they were the him-hawingness was incredible. Let's see. Just in, new experiences inspired by Encanto. Blah 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 blah. We'll talk about it. Are being considered for the reimagined land of Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Dave, you're in the industry. What the fuck is this shit, and how is it good for business?
Well, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, they didn't have to do this, right? They didn't have to mention anything. They would announce something when it's greenlit. But now you have leaks, you have rumors, you have influencers and YouTube channels with millions of followers who just make shit up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And make shit up off of, they saw an Imagineer in the park pointing at Big Thunder. That means they're going to change it, right? Like they have to get ahead of all that. This is my assumption. This is not knowledge, but this is just me,
of course,
cranky old man saying, I don't disagree with you, but I'm also like, what does it hurt? Right? Like, part of me is like, I look at this stuff and go, I had the same reaction you did to all of it. Like, I'll believe it when it's built. I'll believe it when it opens. Right. But at the same token, people are watching and talking about it, which is all they need. Right. Like they're never going to go back to the world where everything they work on in Imagineering is 100% secret. It's just not going to happen anymore. Right. Not just because of moles and leaks, just because of speculation and it's forward movement that is caused by all of the chatter online by fans that Disney has nothing to do with. So they might as well be part of that discussion. Is my assumption.
Well, let me counter that, because Universal is currently laying roller coaster track. Yeah. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Nothing to see here.
It is the tale of two cities, right? It is definitely, they're doing it very differently. And maybe I don't know why that is, other than maybe it speaks to they're doing what Disney doesn't do. There's a certain confidence and swagger in Universal's position in the Orlando theme park world. It always has been, right? Mm-hmm. So they also know that they have a $3 billion park being built, and Disney doesn't. So they've already whipped their dick out, so they don't really need to keep showing it off.
An epic dick.
Yeah. They really don't need to show that off and remind them, Disney, of that. It's hey, look what we're doing over here with the wiping their eye with the middle finger, going, hey, look. So it's I don't know. It's two separate techniques, but it's getting, for Disney, I think it gets the same thing, which is it gets them, people talking about it. I would say Disney, my assumption is that Disney is more risk averse overall, and that trickles through every portion of the company, including promotion, including PR, including what's announced, including who announces what, and not that Universal isn't. Universal controls that stuff for a fine tooth comb too, but Disney corporately has never been that Universal swagger. Right. And we know every time they do, it comes off as awkward. Right. We all remember the Splash Mountain rap. Right. When the minute Disney tries to be kind of cool and like, even, and not so long ago, not as long ago as the Splash Mountain rap, the hip hop dwarves for the It Rocks campaign for the Dwarves coaster. Like, what?
I mean, it is like this morning, to be completely honest, because they released an Instagram story for the Pirates Tavern, which we're going to be talking about. And it is just a bunch of cast members running and flailing.
And I saw that.
us when we have a pirate tavern coming to the Magic Kingdom, except they're all in slow motion. They don't look like they're running. They look like Kermit. Like they just look like they're flailing, and they're not running towards the tavern or away from the tavern. They just seem to be in a line dancing.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense at all.
They're trying so hard to be Xennial, right? Like it's awful.
Well, they're doing they're doing the Jack Sparrow run, and there's literally a cosplayer who runs like Jack Sparrow, and it's like, okay, hire that guy, give him a ticket to come to the park for a day.
I didn't even know that's what was going on.
That's the Jack Sparrow run. Yeah,
okay. Bring the Jack Sparrow in the park to lead those employees, and then I heard the joke. I totally didn't get that joke.
Yeah. It's I mean, kind of going back what you're talking about, Dave. Like, it is interesting how Universal's kind of like, yeah, we're doing this thing, or like, oh no, we're not doing anything. Well, meanwhile, there's a giant coaster behind him. And Disney's very much like, we might do this, we might do this, we might do that. But at some point, they're going to be like, okay, you're crying wolf way too much. It's like, you got to pick something and go with it. I mean, like, how long, like beyond the Big Thunder Mountain, it's like, we've heard about that. That was like a year ago, and there's been nothing on it. And it's like, you got to shit or get off the pot.
Not only that, they also like shifted it from we're blue skying Encanto in Magic Kingdom. Now they're like, ooh, now we're blue skying it in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
So none of this is actually.
I feel like I think the Animal Kingdom stuff is way more solid.
Okay,
but we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
What I will say. What I will say is this is to quote the great Syndrome from Incredibles, if everything is a blue sky pitch, then nothing is.
Sure.
And that's what it feels like. It's like,
and I'm going to
get away. They can just, you can't be disappointed in us. We gave you 20 options. Like
it's that, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully here. Like this is not a talk against any of the actual work that was shown. I have a lot of friends who worked on all these concepts. One in particular worked on practically everything, and there is some beautiful work and beautiful ideas in there. So this isn't a slam on that. Yeah, my assumption would be that there's a distinct vibration lack of in an overall creative vision for all the parks, and there's not as strong a hand at the top of the chain as there has been in the past. That is what it feels like to me, and it feels like, we're all complaining about too much IP in the parks. Well, guess what? That's where we're at. I've dropped that argument from my criticisms entirely, because that is a war we're never going to win, and because of that, you have a lot of exit polls, and you have a lot of testing the waters. You have a lot more sort of PR and marketing spin on things, because they don't want to. They're so risk averse.
It's all weather balloons.
It's all weather balloons. Yeah,
all feels like it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. I don't know that for sure, but that's exactly what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It feels like, all like the weather balloons, and then Guardians was a hit, but really, like, Tron to me kind of fell flat. It's like Disney, I feel like they're not rolling through like big punches again. And it's just like, it feels like they've kind of lost their nerve, or they've lost that. And whereas Universal's like, what's up, mofos? Right. Here we go. Let's do this. And it's like,
and to quote Syndrome once again, if everything is treated like an e-ticket, nothing is.
Nothing's an e-ticket.
It like that's kind of what everything feels like now. This is the aftermath. Not an e-ticket, but they're spilling it out like it is. They market everything like you have to come for this.
I think it's just because they don't have the wherewithal right now to actually make a real e-ticket, but they just want to make all these little things and market them as if they were, because that's the cheapest route.
Look, there is some good creative leadership there right now, but you have to also remember that this is the aftermath of a bloodbath of losing people, and losing very high up people, and losing the institutional knowledge of how to develop these things successfully. And I think in the interim of that, in the sort of JPEG days, look at the app and Genie Plus and everything. This is all driven by exit polls and marketing and profit. And so I think that, unfortunately, that probably trickled into Imagineering a little, and you have maybe younger designers who are good, but who are maybe hamstrung by the process of, well, none of this is going to be real until we focus group it and get exit polls and make sure that we're not going to risk anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And what was Imagineering for decades, if not a mentorship program? Like,
yeah, and it's not anymore.
It's not. I mean, someone mentioned online, and I think this was really smart. They said, watch every one of these Imagineer videos. Some Imagineer coming out and talking about a park thing. All these videos have children in them. Like, there's not a single, like, everyone's a baby. And it's true, you know, and that's okay in the sense that things move on and people retire and stuff, but also it's so consistent in what's going on. All right, let's talk about the first piece of news, which Jeanine, you kind of glanced on. And this is a piece of news in the sense that it's not really a piece of news at all, which is they just basically said they're still going to do a bunch of stuff beyond Big Thunder is kind of what they're talking about. And it's going to be the largest ever for the park expansion. Yeah. And that's all they said.
And moving on.
For me, this would have been really cool about 3 years ago, so you could open it for Epic, but it doesn't matter now.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think that first of all, that title Beyond Big Thunder has nothing to do with Big Thunder. It has
No, not at all.
the land behind it, right?
They shouldn't even call it that. It's a terrible marketing
That
ploy.
felt like an internal discussion name. The project was called Beyond Big Thunder internally because of literally physically where they're going to develop land for. That's what it felt like to me. Like this was a code name, you know, Project Beyond or something. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense because it's confusing to the consumer. But to your point, like they showed Encanto and Coco, and hey, maybe we'll do all this South American stuff. And then this year, oh wait, no, let's put it somewhere else. So who knows what this is going to be? I think they're waiting to see how Fantasy Springs opens. And that if there are concepts there that can make a pathway around the back of Frontierland to Fantasyland like we have at Disneyland, I think that might be the solution.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of room back there. Like I've been back there because when I do my Run Disney stuff, whenever you do the marathon, you run behind Big Thunder Mountain, and really it's just like, as far as I can tell, it's like obviously the back of Splash Mountain, the building there, the show building for that, and then it's a lot of storage. So I think they put the parade floats back there. So really, other than that, there's not a lot they can't get rid of. So there's a ton of room back there. But that being said, that's a weird spot in the park. That's like the sort of Sunset Strip of the park, where it's like there's really only kind of one way to get back there. So I'm curious how, like, logistically they'll pull it off. Like, will they reroute the river? Like, what will they have to do?
I think they should. I mean, I'm the one that have said for years I don't give a shit about the river and like got the whole damn thing, and like who needs the island? We need the space. That place is so damn crowded. But yeah, I think you're right. Like you got to have maybe it'll be like a mini World Showcase vibe in the sense that you can do the whole round.
Right. You need you need an entrance and an exit, or two of them. So like either way, so you can loop it through. Whereas like Sunset and Hollywood Studios, it's just that one line. Like if you want to get down, like it still drives me nuts. They haven't finished that loop like over by the animation courtyard area, like down to Rock and Roller Coaster. But
looking at aerial map imagery, it looks like if you just closed off the little U that goes around Tom Sawyer Island to the north, you could connect it to like Rapunzel's pavilion area, like with a little bit of like earth moving.
Yeah, probably.
And that would make a pretty good connective space where you could go in two ways. Yeah,
that's a good point. I think it's very plausible. But we're talking about it more than they even talked about it during the thing, because they were like, we have no well, they did have Magic Kingdom news. I shouldn't say that because but they wanted to bring it up again. I don't know why. So something that did get announced, and this does feel, it says being developed. I feel like being developed is more than being considered, but I have no idea. But I would assume it looks like they're going to have a Pirates of the Caribbean tavern that will feature the return of Peg Leg Pete, the Barker Bird. It kind of has a where's Rosita at for Tiki Room? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Tropical Paradise? Tropical.
Isn't it?
I forget the name. Anyway, it's my favorite snack food in Disneyland. Those bao buns are fire.
Yeah.
But yeah,
over
I
there.
read that, and first I was very excited. I'm like, a bar, and then I went, no, it's tavern.
Tropical
it's just,
Hideaway. By the
Tropical Hideaway. That's it. I think you're exactly right. It's going to be a remaking of that quick serve across the way from Pirates,
Yeah.
and just reskin it. Maybe make a little bit more indoors. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a place called Tortuga Tavern right now, just across the way. It's a quick service, and so
I mean, the concept art shows
yeah.
it shows it as an interior, which great, more air conditioned space, awesome. But if if they make this an actual, like, my first thought was, oh god, if they do like a Trader Sam style pub inside the park, that thing's going to be mobbed. But we do know
that's a huge change from the concept of Magic Kingdom being like a strictly like family park where
booze is coming. It has to be.
I mean, it's at like table service, and that's been like the line that they've been walking. And so for them to open a full on bar in Magic Kingdom is kind of groundbreaking, I would think.
They're the money's, they're leaving money on the table, not serving more alcohol in that park.
And Tortuga Tavern is never full. At least the time I've been around,
there's no need to make another quick service restaurant.
No, Pecos Bill's I think it's connected. I mean, I think
Tortuga,
they are connected, and half the time Tortuga Tavern is closed because there's not the demand for it.
Yeah, and Pecos Bill's is probably going to get a makeover too, because that stuff's awful. That's like the worst food on property to me.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah,
over there. Though it was always nice because here's a little tip about Pecos Bills if you get to go. We used to just bring chips from home, and then just dump a bunch of stuff on them. So free lunch.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Do that. Let's see here. That was the last time we were moved poor. Spent our last dime on getting AP, and then we were like, all right. So going from Pirates, let's go on over to Country Bear Jamboree, which my body didn't know what to do when they started talking about Country Bear Jamboree, because I was like, what do you, is this going to be good or like, I just was like immediately, because this is my favorite thing at Disney. I think, I know that's super strange, but I'm literally looking at a wall of Country Bear stuff. I can't explain why, but it just works for me.
Dave's face right now. I don't know.
I'm reading.
Dave is like, no. You know, if there's one place you think Dave would like, would be Country Bears, but
womp womp.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for reimagining an old attraction.
Let's talk
about what it is first.
Yeah, let me get through that before we get to that. So basically, Country Bear is getting a refurb and a new show, which is called Country Bear Musical Jamboree, and a couple things. So it looks like all of the music will be country-inspired variations on Disney songs. So they played a little clip of the Bare Necessities, which makes a lot of sense, that song.
Yeah.
I immediately, when they were like, and they'll do Disney songs, I was like, fuck, because I was like, this is not what I want. And it isn't, honestly, but I had a small Twitter conversation with Guy Selga, who is a bigger Country Bears guy than me, and he knows enough people that he's like, it's this or nothing.
Yeah, I know.
It's
That's
this
the answer.
or a demolition. So
Yep.
Okay, I'll take it. The other news connected to this, there's a couple things. One is that the concept was first pitched in 2004. So this is something that's been around for a while. And they were going to develop it a lot earlier, but COVID hit, apparently. Yeah. To remind everybody, there was a lot of rumors about a Woody's Roundup show as well, taking over this spot. My guess is all the stuff was being pitched at the same time, and who knows why they decided to go with it. Probably because it's probably cheaper, to be honest, to keep Country Bears there, which is fine. And then the other thing is Liver Lips McGraw is getting a rename to Romeo McGraw, which is completely fine. If you know the history of the term liver lips, there is some Jim Crow era stuff connected to that.
Yeah, that's why it's changing.
Yeah, and I someone was asking me about it, and I tried to find definitions and articles, and it is one of the more, I would say, obscure of the I don't know, bad things to say. so there's not a lot online to explain it, but I do know that there's plenty of academic history about this kind of stuff, and that lands inside of that. So no problem there with me having that change. I
think the character looks cute too.
With the pompadour.
Yeah, part of my issues with the Country Bears Jamboree is it is just visually offensive to me personally. Like, I just don't like looking at these characters. Like,
my God,
they need to be cuter.
You're
not cute.
It's Mark. Okay, here's what I would say. I would say that I think the Mark Davis work is perfect for this. I think this is maybe his best work. What I think when it's not cute, I think it's because the animatronics themselves are just really, really freaking old. And if they were spruced up, I think. Oh, and don't get me wrong, the meet and greet characters are absolutely ugly,
terrifying.
They're the worst.
Terrifying.
That's mostly my exposure. I think I've done the attraction once, but I've walked through Frontierland and seen them.
It kind of I get what you're talking about, like the aesthetic of the visual language of their face designs and their weird mouths is a little much for me. I'm with you. The walk around characters always terrified me.
Yeah,
even as a kid.
Wendell is a monster.
It's a monster, but on stage together, I get it. It sort of creates a family tableau of people, if you will, and so it doesn't bother me on stage. I, for one, love this idea because yes, people grew up with the original show and Summer Vacation show, and the holiday show the Christmas show was always my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get that people are nostalgic for things, but this is not a bad change. I love the idea of countrified versions. If they do country versions of the Disney songs and sort of make fun of those songs in a country milieu, and the fact that country songs have their own sort of cliches, and they tie the Disney song and they tie them to Disney songs
and bear puns.
And puns.
They did bear puns throughout Summer Vacation and Christmas.
Yeah,
so.
I actually don't hate this idea, and it's a way, like, if it's a way to keep that like you said, it's all or nothing. If it's a way to keep that attraction going, I'm all for it. And the fact that they haven't kept up that, because remember when they opened it in the early 70s and then in Disneyland, like, it was a big deal when they changed to the summer show, and then the summer show even changed 3 or 4 times, and then the Christmas show came. Like, they should have.
Disneyland had 2 theaters. Like, that's how big of a deal this show was. Yeah.
And it always felt like they should be doing more reviews with different shows, and have the show change like an actual, stage show that the Bears put on. So I'm all for this idea. I think it's actually really clever.
My dream was always, and I've said this I think on this before, but my dream is always to Star Tours Country Bear. I wish it was I wish there were 50 songs that just rotated.
It took me a second to figure out what you meant by Star Tours. I think
I want to write Star Tours with
and a bunch of bears, and it was I wasn't sure what was going on.
Trixie in the pilot, in the pilot seat,
please. But no, I just think if you want to really, really, really keep it fresh, that's one way of doing it. Is having a really legitimately a different show every time. Jokes even, like, just this is the joke segment, and then we go to the next song, and
maybe we'll get that with this. Maybe there's so many Disney songs.
We won't. We'll be lucky if they refurb like the animatronics. Like, this is going to be I'm really worried that this is going to be we're going to change the costumes. We're redoing the soundtrack. We're going to reanimate them. But, like, it's not, they're not even going to give them they should rip every single animatronic out and put in a new one, because those things are old. I can't imagine spending money.
I haven't been in there in a long time, but do they have the clicky mouths? Like,
do they? Well, no, not really clicky mouths. It's the no, clicky mouths are tiki birds for sure.
Yeah.
The Country Bear Jamboree's issue is the 3 heads, the buck and the buffalo and the moose. Their eyelids clickety clack all day.
Yeah.
When I worked at a Great Movie Ride back in 2002, before we would open for the day, we'd run just quiet shows, like with the soundtracks and the noise wouldn't be on yet. And you'd get to Wizard of Oz, and all the munchkins would come up, and it was just like it was horrifying. Definitely the creepiest part of that whole ride, more so than
those
Alien.
mothers were loud. I even remember that with the soundtrack on.
Oh yeah.
The most telling thing about this redo, if you read that article about the former Imagineer who originally pitched in 2004, which he really shouldn't be talking about this stuff publicly, I don't think, was that it was originally designed for Tokyo, which absolutely 1000% makes sense.
Totally.
Right. And I'm going to be a little sassy here. All the people are complaining about it now. If it had opened in Tokyo first, they'd be clamoring for it. So shut your mouth.
No, totally. 100%. 100%. I fully agree. Look, I just hope they keep the irreverence. And if they can keep the irreverence, I don't even feel that the vacation one or the Christmas one got the irreverence right.
No.
But the first one it does a good job of, I've always said Country Bears feels like the Muppets. There is this.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's like the original Muppets for those parks.
Yeah, because they really have that. We are kind of putting on a thing, and you know, doing a joke about shooting your brother and then being like, well, we got a lot of high class stuff on this show. You know, like it works. It barely works now. Like that joke is awkward even for me when I'm in there now. But then he says the line and people still laugh. So it really toes the line in a weird way. But I understand that show is fairly old. I think I'd have less of an issue with this if they were like, this is one of a 2 rotation. We're going to have a Christmas one again. If it felt like, and I don't really need the original back, it's fine. But even if they were like, we're going to do the original version, like, and it's like a thirds, you know, original, and then this one, and then Christmas, or we'll bring Vacation back or whatever. But I know they're not going to. This is gonna be the one they're gonna do, and then when they can finally figure out what the hell they want to do with Frontierland, I'm still concerned. I mean, this gives them a stay of execution of a decade, maybe, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then speaking of things that are certainly new, very new, and not old at all, and not a thing at all that's old. It's very new, and you should go and get your trip because it's super new, and that is the Hatbox Ghost. Lady. Hatbox Ghost coming to Haunted Mansion of the Magic Kingdom in late November.
Yeah.
Jared Leto's coming?
Yeah.
Jared voices it. They're literally just going to pay Jared Leto to stand there, and he's
frankly scarier than his
join my cult.
It's a new gig, yeah. You know, so there's all that fan upset about where it's being placed because the art now confirms it that it's being put next to the endless hallway. They're adding a little door there, like he's just come in. Here's my take on it. I don't disagree that the original logic of the ride is there. I made this point on Twitter to Disney Dan, and you know, it wasn't so much a dispute. It was like, here's something to consider in the movie. Like
two men sitting, one might say, in the front on the steps, reading the Talmud and finding different interpretations. Wise men.
I was sitting at the Algonquin Round Table with Disney Dan, and no, it was just my comment on it was, in the movie, like it or not, in the movie, he's actually more powerful than Leota, right? And he kind of comes and goes as he pleases, right? And that's the point. And I don't think I said it that way, but that's what they said in the article. It's what the Imagineers responded to, is that he can come and go anytime. And it's like, I call this the do you want to go to Hoth problem? And I think we've talked about this before. Where on Star Tours, when they started adding all the other scenes, you're jumping through centuries of time in Star Wars, and no one fucking complains about that. And my answer to people who question is like, do you want to be right or do you want to go to Hoth? And I want to go to Hoth. Hoth is cool. Yeah. So like, I get that people are upset. I don't think the vast majority of Disney fans even know about that story because it's not public facing. It was a design logic element, right? And yes, it's literal. She incants it and the ghosts appear. I don't think people get that. I think a lot of people don't, and the people that are holding on to it, I understand why you're upset. I don't disagree. I would love to see this put where it was in Disneyland. It's a better space for it, but who knows why they can't? So I don't know.
Also, like I know it's like non-visible ghosts and stuff, but like the Piano Man's there.
Yep. Right.
give us a song. And also the creepy hand in the caskets there. Like there's stuff.
There's
like,
Floating
stuff.
candelabra. Like
Floating-
obviously
like-
there's a ghost holding
Yeah.
the candelabra. So
Yeah,
it's not that
the picture's changing. Like there's stuff
Yeah.
that
Right.
who cares? It's
Yeah.
fine.
It's
You
fine.
bunch,
Do you want the
you
hat
bunch
box
of hot
ghost, or
topic buying weenies. Calm down.
do you want the hat box ghost, or do you not want the hat box
Yeah.
ghost? Because this is how you're gonna get it. So sit there, pout. Go ahead. And pout.
I like the idea though that somebody for D23 they were like, okay, we're gonna talk about the Hatbox Ghost coming. So can you go like several years back in our archive and find wherever the hell that footage is of animating the ghost so we can reuse it for the expo? Because like it's the same thing. Like Brandon Clyley, he said it online, so I don't mind saying it, was like, I recognize that propping. Like it's the same damn thing. And they really tried to make it like, hey everybody, and it's like all these, you were talking to the wrong crowd. All these people have seen it and done it. Like it's but
And if folks haven't seen the one in Disneyland in person, that face switch gag is incredible. Like I've watched it 50 times trying to figure out the actual sort of mechanics and geometry of it, and it's pretty seamless. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still prefer the story of the Haunted Mansion with the ring and the like in the exit queue area.
Yeah.
The one that no one knew about except the cast members.
Was that just Florida?
I think so. Yeah, because the whole idea, the whole thing was apparently there was a metal queue stand in like the exit area of the ride. So and they tore it up, but it left a little ring of metal in the concrete. And so people were like, "Oh, that the bride, she lost her ring and she's killing people because she couldn't find it." And there it is.
Yeah.
And so that was the narrative that I was told when I was working there. And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And then now it's gone. And so like,
people are still looking for it too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
every time I'm there, someone's looking for that.
Oh,
ring.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I love that there's an alternate headcanon for people there. That's great.
Well, and what's not, I mean, the rest of the ride's basically the same anyway, but like that's the weird thing about, if you watch the movie, they really do, they represent the East Coast version of Haunted Mansion, but like it's the same ride. Like I kind of feel like maybe I don't want the Hatbox Ghost, only because it's like, can we, at this point I almost want really different things for both of them, but whatever, it's fine. I think we're done talking about Magic Kingdom. That's where we're at with all that stuff. Let's go to Epcot. Journey of Water is opening October 16th with a Moana meet and greet. We were considering talking about Moana this episode. I put a bunch of stuff together before we knew if we were going to have news, because we thought it might be a little quiet, and they kind of surprised us. But I think we're going to wait. I think we're going to wait until Jeanine gets to go over there and check it out. And
I was hoping to see it last week, but it was not open.
A no-go. Yeah.
No.
We got lots. I mean, there's like, we're behind on discussing all sorts of trips.
Let's save. We'll save that.
So it's officially in October now, is what they're saying. Because I'm going to be there in like 2 or 3 weeks. So
October 16th, it's opening.
So it'll be
annual pass holder previews.
I have an annual pass.
Yeah, then you can go at the end of the month into the first week of October on the weekends.
Oh, let's talk about that though. Let's talk about what they're doing for the annual pass preview. There is no reservation.
Oh, okay.
You just get into a line.
I mean, honestly, I prefer that.
I prefer
like
that.
that. That's huge.
I mean,
for me,
I
'cause,
do.
Like,
maybe
I don't like. Well, this thing, like for me, like I have an annual pass. I don't live in Florida, so it's like if I can't book a specific day, I'm boned. It's like I wanted to go out for Guardians when they were opening, but it's like, well, if I can't get a weekend, I can't do it. So the idea of like, oh yeah, you just go wait in line. Like, yeah, I'll wait in line. Like I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I mean, within the beauty. Yeah, the beauty of having an annual pass is like I never wait in lines because I just won't ride stuff. But I'm like, oh yeah, I don't mind waiting an hour to check out something I've never seen before.
I think it works. I'm sorry. I think it works because it's a walkthrough. Like if it wasn't, if it was an actual ride.
Also, we were talking moments ago about Disney treating things as e-tickets that aren't e-tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an e-ticket. It's a walkthrough experience. There shouldn't really be a reservation system for a walkthrough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that is and Moana's meeting there, which like if they didn't do that, that'd be really stupid. So I mean, that's just news. That's all they said about that. But we got Figment meet and greet. To end the panel, Figment came out to see everybody. Now, what I will say is, if you look, he's meeting now, and he came out and did his meet and greet this morning, and they have redone his section. It's really pretty. The old Wreck-It Ralph spot, the internet Ethernet area where the characters were coming out is now renamed the Dreamport. And there is really cute sound effects and imagination, OG kind of stuff. It's really cute.
It's really cute. I like it a lot.
I really like the Dreamport. I really like what they're doing. Let's talk about that Figment. Jack is not happy with Figment.
I hate it.
I am not happy with college bro Figment. That's what I'm calling him now.
I hate it. It is monstrous.
He's
okay.
At what point? I mean, he's so big. Why is he so big?
He's Bigment. He's Bigment. We call him Bigment.
They have. They have like characters that are shorter, and Figment has always been represented as like literally it was like Dreamfinder and Figment. It's like a tiny little thing, and so now we've got this 7-foot tall purple dinosaur running around.
To be fair, two things. First of all, there is a lack of purple dinosaurs now running around Orlando theme parks.
True.
So space has opened up. But two, this is the second iteration of Bigment that we've seen, because there was one for, I don't know, for a while. I don't have the exact dates, but there is a completely different costumed version of Figment that was out meeting people and doing stuff for a long time. I don't know, decades ago, I feel like at this point. But is his head too small? Is that the issue for people?
Maybe his proportions are weird. Like he's got too much upper torso neck, I think.
Yeah.
It's just
there's the head in there, so like you get it, but oof. Find a way.
Yeah.
Dave, thoughts?
I mean, like, what you could do like a turtle talk type thing with Figment, like that would be awesome. Like have Figment flying around, or even like have like a little puppet area where he pops up, kind of like Donkey at Universal. Like you could do something where it's like you don't actually. Do you want to hug Figment?
Donkey Universal would be the best possible solution, and the thing they could do for about the same amount of money. They would never do the Stitch Live or the Turtle Talk, which is a great idea, by the way. That's amazing, because Figment can make stuff come to life and appear in imagination, and a media thing would be amazing. It's just I don't see them spending money on that, but Donkey's great idea. Like put him in a cart somewhere and selling his magical wares or whatever. Like Dreamfinder has stepped away for a moment and Figment takes over the operation for a second, right? And it's in like Dreamfinder's cart or balloon or something.
And it would be adorable.
Adorable.
You could voice him.
Adorable and way less terrifying than a 7-foot-tall Bigman.
No offense whatsoever to Dave Goelz, who is currently theoretically the voice of Figment. I don't know if he's recorded a lick of Figment dialogue since the original show with Eric Idle. But
don't ever say lick of Figment again, please.
Lick of Figment. Well, you can now. Just so we're clear.
You cannot.
Give this guy a little lick. But anyway, let me put in a
Can we just talk about the bigger problem, the bigger elephant in the room?
Well, hold on. We'll get there. I just want to give a thumbs up to Caitlin Robrock, who is now the voice of Minnie Mouse. And
I met her last week.
That's amazing. She seems like a real
amazing.
sweetheart. She follows me on Twitter, and I had no idea. And I was like, wait, the voice of Minnie's following me on Twitter.
I ran into her at Magic Kingdom with a friend last week. And he's
amazing.
Like, out of the blue, he's like, oh, Dave, you need to meet Kayla. She's the voice of Minnie Mouse. And I went, I literally, and she went, well, hello there, like as Minnie. And I'm like,
That's incredible. She
lost my mind.
They did a like a panel for voice actors the same day later on.
Oh, cool.
She did a portion of the original Journey to Imagination spiel. Bill Farmer did a Dreamfinder, and she did her best Billy Barty, and it's great.
I bet.
It's so good. And I just was like, man, I want more of this childish Figment, because he's still sort of a scamp still, and I get it because the ride's not changed, but
that's the thing. That's the elephant in the room for me is that ride, and the many redos are awful. and like if you're gonna hang on to the nostalgia for that character, give it the proper platform.
Absolutely.
If you're not, make it something else. Get rid of Figment entirely, and he lives only in plush and t-shirts. Like I'm fine that people are nostalgic for him. I get it, but from a ride perspective, like that needs to be redone again in a significant way.
Like gut the theater
like,
and
yeah.
start all over.
Well,
Yes.
what you do is you bring out this Figment figure, like a different version of the Figment figure, park it right at the front of the Imagination Pavilion, gut the Imagination Pavilion while this thing's out front, and be like, oh, if you want to see Figment, it's there, and then work on a ride for 2 years until you have something new and awesome.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
They've tried so hard to not have to use anything but the existing ride system, and that's part of the problem. But again, a lot of those buildings from that era, if they touch the building, it cost a lot more to, like, the modifications for Guardians were a lot of money, but they knew they would have the payoff because it was an e-ticket and a headliner that everybody would love.
I have reached a point now where there was a time where I said, oh, just make it Muppets Lab and have Figment be a part of Muppets Lab with Bunsen and
Sure.
Beaker. I am now even more inclined to say, let Bunsen and Beaker just have the ride and let Figment do a 3D show. Because the building's right there.
Well, and that's the thing. If you want to do, okay, there's an idea. You want to do Turtle Talk, they could do Turtle Talk in that theater and make it a massively sized show. I've pitched shows in the past that were a cross between I pitched a SpongeBob show, which actually I didn't work on, but they did something like it, where it was like part 3D, 4D pseudo simulator ride, but a live character a live digital character hosting it all, superimposed over pre-rendered footage, and there were branching elements, and you can shout out. He'd pull the audience to do things, and he'd go different places.
You did live actors into 3D shows with The Mask, like there are variations on that you've
sure. But now you could easily do a digital puppet with. I mean, it's basically it's taking the idea of Star Tours and the next part of it, which is a 4D show that branches. You do a live puppet, live puppeted version of Figment that hosts the show. I think that's a natural. I mean, that's a great
Monsters
idea.
Inc. It's Laugh Floor.
Yeah,
but
right. It's Laugh Floor, but a larger theater and maybe a bigger spectacle, and you make it literally the old ride. But it's Figment taking you through what do you think about when your imagination hits, and and you literally do the same beats of words and colors and sounds and smells, and you do it all in the form of a 4D show.
Totally,
Disney, you can have that one. Do it.
Yeah, because
hire me.
I honestly think as much as we would like them to gut everything and make a new big ride, they're not going to. And so just gut that space and fill it full of Muppets, and we'll be happy. Like, honestly, because
can we start making a T-shirt that just says "Fill it with Muppets"?
Fill it full of Muppets.
Full of Muppets.
What was the name of the Hollywood Studios? What was the name of the Hollywood Studios show with the Muppets? Or Here Come the Muppets? Is that what it was? Oh God, bring that back. This is exactly like that.
Where they somehow
giant Kermit
crashed the monorail. They crashed the monorail through the wall. It's great.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I saw that show when I was a child and had vague memories of it. And I'd be like, no, the monorail crashed through a wall. And people are like, you're talking gibberish. And it's like, no, it was a thing. There was a Muppet show at the studios, and then the monorail. And they're like, no, there wasn't. Nope. I'm like, I know there was. And then I was so validated when I found it. I'm like, that's it. There it is.
Thank God for the internet, because we don't have to feel crazy anymore.
Yeah.
It's all there. We don't have to do that. But anyway, sure, this is fine. I think he's a bit of a freak. That long neck is weird. They've done proportion. I really want to hear Disney Dan's take on this, because he does huge costume looks and stuff. He's so good at it, and I'm really excited to hear what he has to say. Dan, come on the pod. But so that's Figment, and apparently are better ideas for what they should do to the space.
You're welcome, Disney.
Yeah,
You're
take
welcome.
them, please. Let's talk about something that seems like it's actually happening, because guess what? When you have sponsorships, you got money, and that is Test Track 3.0. They announced that they're doing a whole new test track that has more World of Motion vibes, apparently.
Yeah, that spirit of optimism from World of Motion is what they've said.
Yeah. What are our thoughts?
I love the concept art where it looks like you're cruising through the ETQ.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like an actual forest rather than those cut out flat trees in the current digital forest.
That. Yeah, bring me there. I like that. I'm cautiously optimistic for this. I don't love the current concept. I do love the interactivity of it.
Yeah,
It
right.
doesn't always work all the time, which is disappointing because your kid sits there in that studio after that line and builds their car that they're jazzed about, and then it doesn't rank them, and that part is frustrating. So I'm happy to see them renovate this. I don't know if it's going to still have that interactivity in it. I don't fully care as long as it's fixed if it is.
That's a lot of space to re-theme if you don't keep that interactivity.
Yeah.
Only in the sense that like the whole back queue deals with it and the whole front queue deals with it, and it really doesn't seem to be that hard to like. It's kind of a fake bullshit thing anyway. Like it's not real.
It doesn't actually affect the ride. I mean, I'll say this: that I don't hate Tron Track, and I do like
what a shock.
Right, of course. Well, and what I had heard is when you look at when this was in production, they were doing it was a lot of lighting tests and media tests and scenic tests for Tron Shanghai. They were like figuring it out, and they said, "Well, let's put it in that ride." So that's fine. And it's not even that I don't really love the scenery and everything, but I actually really like the interactivity and it ties to the sponsor. It ties to the purpose of the automotive pavilion. All that I'm fine with, but the inside of that building is so hard to like. It's so purpose built for the original ride for version 1 in terms of the shape of the track, the weird jigs and jags in the track, so much of it is so specific. So I'm very curious about how they're going to make it a more immersive thing. One thing you could do entirely is don't worry about like the speed moments inside the building, the braking, the accelerating up the hill, right? If you got rid of those start and stop tests and just said, look, your thrill in this is the 60-mile-per-hour loop at the end, and you treat the inside like a dark ride, and you literally just riding through a dark ride.
Enjoyable.
Right. And you could do a couple like the zoom up the hill could be funny and something like in the forest, but I'm with you, Jeanine, that like the inside of it is just it needs some love, and if we get a real dark ride out of it, then maybe that's the best of both worlds.
Well, the crappy part about Blacklight is every piece of dust in the world gets seen, and that ride is just they're not going to clean it the way it needs to be if it's going to be an entirely blacklit ride, which it is, and it's
and
it
UV
just
stuff
always looks bad.
UV stuff fades over time too. So
All I want is the original ride photo back. Like that was the best, because in the version 1 it was the whole like you were a crash test dummy heading at the wall, and the wall just like moved the last minute, and the photo was inside, and it was my favorite photo spot. Now they've moved it outside beyond the wall, and like most of the time the wall's not even there, and it's just like that was the exciting thing for me. And the idea of like maybe one day it doesn't open and you just plow through it, because it was made out of foam for that specific reason. Yeah. But still, it's like that would be so cool to be a part of that. You know, like someone's got that. Someone smashed through the wall. And it's like, how cool would that be? But,
at least for testing purposes, someone did. I want a cool, vibey version of Fun to Be Free. I need a tech version of Fun to Be Free as sort of don't have to use the lyrics. Jeanine, it's fun to be free on the move, to go anywhere without a care, right? So that is the original song.
He just explained it for you. I don't understand what's wrong.
I don't understand. Don't you understand? So Jeanine, this is why we like Jeanine. Jeanine has a passion, but not necessarily the historical background. For those who don't know, when it was World of Motion, which is what they're saying it's going to have that optimism vibe of, the song was Fun to Be Free. I think it's Sherman Brothers, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Maybe not. I don't know. But they basically did like, it's like 10 variations on the song. Be on the move to go anywhere whenever I care to. So they did like what? Because the history of motion, they would go to each one.
No, Buddy Baker and Exitensio.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. If it's not going to be the Sherman Brothers.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's going to be those two guys. So they had variations depending on the age. So a 20s version and a 60s Beach Boys version, and it's a super catchy tune. So I want them to bring that back in a sort of, I don't know, techie. I don't want dubstep, but you know, it's fun to be free. Yeah. To be on the move.
Can I puff out my feathers about something really quick
Please,
for a moment?
puff.
Because I haven't thought about Buddy Baker in a long time. So the music and song for Men in Black were written by my good friend Andy Garfield, and I wrote the lyrics for Universe in You, but he wrote the music.
Right.
He studied under Buddy Baker at USC, and when he did the demo version of the song that I loved, he's like, I'm going to take this to Buddy. And I'm like, shut the front door.
That's
and he
crazy.
Did, and he played it for Buddy, and Buddy loved it and gave him a couple minor little notes. And so Buddy Baker's blessing is on The Universe and You, and that made me deliriously happy. Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah. It made me very happy. It was like the theme park god smiled upon me.
Yeah. The OG.
The OG, right.
Like, to the point of, we didn't have much to score for the first year of Disneyland because nothing was open. Like, that's
yeah.
He's there from the start. My thing about Test Track, to finish off, I want the song, but I also want them to cover the entire final tunnel. I want it to be a huge plasma LED screen that makes it feel like it's even faster. So whether that is speed lines or actual, like, I don't need the kind of classic. Do you remember when they did the Air Flight one version when it was World of Motion? But just something that makes it feel even faster. Change the colors, like really, make it fun. I don't know how it would sound. I'm wondering about like issues with how loud it is, but I think that loud sound is from the bottom, not the top, because when you're in the ride you don't really hear anything. So I don't want a bunch of echo, but I think that would really transform that ride too if the finale really had a spectacle to it. Which right now, I don't know, going 60 outside in going like you're right, Jack, everyone's picture is like eyes closed because it's just really bright.
Yeah, you go down that little like hill and then it flattens out and is on that flattened part, and that's like it's not a good spot for a photo.
No, not at all. But
not
I
as
think
bad as Spider-Man, but not a good spot.
Yeah, but I think that would really transform it for next to nothing, and it would be weather resistant. Now the ride can be done out when the weather's bad, because that's one of the big problems with Test Track. Anyway, moving on, Epcot has also now officially announced their fireworks show Luminous, with an emphasis on the US of Luminous, premiering on December 5th. So, hey, there's no taco barges, so I'm happy. Do what you want. I don't care.
The Symphony of Us. I was most shocked by the opening date. I'm like, okay, well, what is this going to be then? Because Epcot Forever is fine, but I thought for a new permanent spectacular, it was going to be like, are we going to have a big fire barge, the Inferno barge again? Are we going to? And I was just there last week, and there ain't nothing out there. So
there's some stuff. They've done some testing.
It's like low profile in the water.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
It's called the opposite of the last several years.
Right. No more tacos.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still bummed that they're like the classic Disney songs that you love. And I'm like, I don't want Disney songs in my Epcot show, but whatever. I've gotten over that one already.
Yeah. They're just going to be Disney shows organized by the themes of the park, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. That's where I land on.
I mean,
shows.
Look, hey, any show on that lagoon at Epcot, I'm going to sit and watch and enjoy it because it's World Showcase and it's big kabooms and big music, and I'll be happy.
I just want there to be lasers.
Yeah, I think there are.
I want lasers.
I mean, where are the drones? Like at this point, like Epcot screams drones because like you're literally over a lake, so you're not going to hit anyone.
5 minutes, one show with drones.
From what I've heard, it's because it has to go over people to get to the lake, even if it's that tiny little strip over the river.
Oh no, you put it on a barge and roll it out. I mean,
it's an FCC thing. It's a US thing.
But if they start,
very little to do with them.
But if they start from the middle of the lake.
They had them at one point.
But they had them. The only place they had them was at Disney Springs, and they were way out over the water.
I saw a show at Epcot that had drones.
Really?
Yes, I swear to God, I saw it. It was for like 5 minutes. There was just like it was like between.
All right.
Illuminations and Harmonious, I think.
Okay.
For like 5 minutes, it was running. I don't know. This feels crazy.
It wasn't the kites, right?
Are you sure it wasn't kites?
Oh, was it kites?
I don't know. We're asking you. Jeanine is so sure of herself.
It might have been kites.
Jeanine doesn't see. She has kite blindness. She can't see the difference between kites and
Look,
drones.
I mean,
They're-
we've all seen incredible drone shows. I don't know if you saw there was a fireworks competition show. I think somewhere in was it Tennessee or something. There was a video posted last week.
Mhm.
There's a giant robot head, and
Yeah.
it zaps out of its eyes, and fireworks blow. Like it's crazy. You can do a lot.
Oh man.
Oh, the
what-
Paris thing is nuts.
Yeah,
The
the
Paris
Paris thing-
drone show is
yeah.
amazing.
And so I'm with you. Like I don't know why, and maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's what those low platforms are for. All I've heard is in the past that the closeness, the distance to guests is the issue, and with Florida winds and hurricanes,
Yep.
and everything goes down to the worst possible case of the air is completely still, but then suddenly there's a 50-mile-an-hour wind, and remember
Grandma's
we're
head
talking,
comes off. Yeah.
well, we're talking about these drones are like ounces. They're very tiny.
they're
like
very
they don't.
tiny.
I've had them fall on my head. They're fine. But we live in a litigious society, and Disney is risk averse. So I don't know why they're not doing it, because I'm with you. It's so spectacular.
Yeah.
But they
I-
get
I-
away with it.
It
Bet you
feels like it's the next
Universal has one
obvious.
first. I bet
Yeah.
you $100.
Yeah, it feels like it's the next obvious thing because it's a shitload cheaper than blowing up a bunch of fireworks every single night.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
And B,
Yeah.
you can do so many unique and cool things. And it's like, and the actual, like the drones, the light show drones, they're not expensive. I mean, because they mass produce these things. They're like maybe like $50 a piece.
Yeah, they're made
And,
to
yeah.
get lost and explode.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
100%.
And so I don't know. It shocks me that it's this year already and we don't have a drone show. It's like, I mean, we've seen what they do at Paris, like the big ears over the tower or over the castle looks so cool. And it's like, and then all the Avengers stuff they've done out there. It's like, yeah, obviously this is the next step. Where is it? And it blows my mind that they haven't done it yet. And like it's gonna be a thing. And like they're gonna work with the FCC. There's helicopters flying over parks. Like they'll figure out something. You know, it's just I don't know how it hasn't happened yet. Or FAA, not FCC.
Yeah.
Just can't believe I thought the kites were pulled by drones instead of normal
Except for
kite-pulling
those,
devices.
except for those watercrafts that were the jet skis that were making tons of
I was
noise.
so enamored with the kites, I didn't look down at all.
Well, and the kites go back to Surprise in the Skies, which is the show from the 80s that was the daytime fireworks show
That someone died in, right? Isn't that the classic?
Really?
What?
Someone died doing. I believe so.
Oh, I have no idea.
That could be apocryphal. I don't know, but
I don't know.
if I remember correctly.
But
was
it ran well into the 90s, and it was this daytime fireworks show with puffs of colorful smoke and jet skis pulling kites, and it was fun.
What was the show that had the what are they called? Where it's like it almost looks like a go-kart with a giant fan on it, and they have a parachute and they fly around.
Oh yeah,
there was a show where Goofy was in one of those. Flying around Epcot.
I think that might. Is it not Surprise in the Skies?
It's called an ultralight. It may have been part of that Surprise in the Skies, possibly.
I think it
I don't know
was.
offhand, but it probably was.
Because I remember seeing again. That's one of those fever dreams when I was a child. Like I swear to God, I saw this.
You know, it's weird. I haven't thought about this in a long time, but you're right. Why is there not a daytime show? Like, why not? Like, I don't know. Not that they need to. There's plenty to do, but I don't know. You got a bunch of Baloo and King Louie kites just sitting around. Just chuck them out there now. Speaking of that, our favorite animals from Kite Tales, let's go on over to Animal Kingdom, which I think has it's only 2 announcements, but kind of big ass announcements if they come to fruition, which is Zootopia is taking over the 3D space of It's Tough to Be a Bug. And basically the concept art shows the characters on the screen, and not surprisingly, Officer Clawhauser, who is already been made for Shanghai,
Right.
It's the same animatronic, is going to be reutilized at basically in the hopper spot of It's Tough to Be a Bug. It certainly seems. Thoughts? What do you guys think about Zootopia? I mean,
I think this is great.
We've had weeks of people thinking Zootopia. Dave, I kind of agree with her, and I'll explain why in a second. But Dave,
I'm just relieved we're not getting Zootopia Land and
Me too.
So
That I think that's
coloring
sure.
this whole like
Same.
it's just as tough to be a bug.
I
Yeah.
agree with that, but I still have my stink face on.
you do have your stink face, and this is it's not good for audio, so you'll have to explain the stink face.
first of all, the overall thing about Zootopia is not about conservation and animals. It's actually human allegory. I get that,
Yes.
and I agree with that. Okay, fine. IP has to be in this park, fine. And 4D movie is probably the least impact.
It is.
on
It
the
is
thi-
so isolated. I think that's
It's
what I
very
love
isolated.
about it.
Why are they in the Tree of Life? Why? Please give me a good reason. I hope there's a good reason.
My only thought is the Tree of Life has animals all over it, so there's animals, all kinds of animals in Zootopia. That's as deep as it gets.
Right.
Like, that's-
I think that I bet you they're going to tone down some of the tree elements, because the theater itself kind of has certain element. I'm not saying a lot, but I think they might try to treat it more like a normal theater.
I don't know how you do that.
Well, not
The concept art. The concept art is literally the tree.
It does. No, I'm not suggesting.
Clawhauser's in the hopper spot. Like,
yeah, I'm certainly not suggesting that they're going to redo that spot. I'm just saying that there are elements that have that like your tiny vibe that they're going to take away. I think this is the best case scenario. I think we are foolish if we don't think that the normal guest believes that Zootopia should be an animal kingdom. They expect.
I agree with you.
They expect meet and greets with Zootopia characters in Animal Kingdom. It's the animal park. They're animals. I get the ethos. This is for me the best way because it's isolated. It is pretty it doesn't really affect the thematic elements of the rest of the park. It barely affects the thematic elements of the Tree of Life. Like it's just a show inside of a thing. So
and it's also in that what's that center land called, the like main street of
Discovery Island.
Discovery Island. It's in Discovery Island. It's not in a place. It's not in Zootopia, right?
Yep.
It's you're winning me over with that argument. I absolutely agree. Most guests probably look and go, Judy Hopps, she's a bunny. I want to see a bunny here.
Yep.
Like I get it.
It certainly makes more sense than like Doug and like yes, I love Up, yes, but like it does, yeah.
But what will be clever is if they hang a lantern on that. If the show and the script of the show is literally the animals going, oh my God, we're in Animal Kingdom. Why are we in Animal Kingdom? We're like sentient talking animals. Like if they make a reason that the Zootopia characters are visiting us in a fun way, okay, all right, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm never gonna get what I wanted, which I always say is I wanted the petting zoo to be Zootopia themed because it could be a nudist colony. It's the best. It's the best. There is that is in canon. That is part of the movie. So that's what I want, but I'll take what I got. So there's that. Any other thoughts on the Zootopia show, Jack?
Like what everyone else said is like, I'm happy it's not a land. It's like, okay, like I'm tired of copy paste stuff. It's like, give me unique, cool stuff. And the idea is like, oh, well, it's working there. Like we're going to get Frozen Land in Florida at some point. And it's like, give me new, original, cool stuff. Like give me stuff that gets copied from Florida to other places.
Yeah.
Like anyway, but I'm whatever. It's Tough to Be a Bug was a fun show. It's always fun hearing people scream as the show ends when the bugs go out first. Like, but
25 years is a good run.
Can we talk about It's Tough to Be a Bug though? Because like we're talking like any other
Jeanine is our bug expert.
An existing ride. Like people are going to talk about the ride. I think it's notable that we're hardly mentioning the existing experience at all.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with bugs. My license plate is I like bug. Bugs are my thing.
Yeah.
I credit that to It's Tough to Be a Bug. Like
really?
That was like the initial, I don't remember an experience before that where I was like, oh, bugs, because like the whole montage of like humans killing bugs, like that I think was a formative moment for me, seeing animals as something to value. And like I just really think that was like an influential moment for me where I was no longer like, okay, bugs are creepy, bugs are scary. It became, oh, humans are the scary one. Which was very validating to me.
You got woke. Sounds like It's Tough to Be a Bug.
It made you woke.
Got you woke. That woke show.
Shortly thereafter, like I feel like it just like flipped a switch in my young me's brain to start more closely analyzing humanity's relationship with animals at a young age. I love it for that, but I hate
Plus we're gonna
things.
Plus we're gonna plus we're gonna
Oh my
pl-
God.
plus we're gonna lose that brilliant lyric. You'll be out there wallowing in shoulder high waist, shoulder
Yeah.
high waist. Like
Thank you,
the first
Kevin
time I
Rafferty.
saw that, I laughed so hard. That came from that '90s era of really funny Disney TV writers writing.
Oh, it's Rafferty's work. I mean,
Rafferty, yeah.
Rafferty he took over pun, like he was pun king for
Yeah.
a decade at
Yeah.
Disney.
It was so good.
So good. Here's the thing I would say about this. The last thing I would say about Zootopia, though, is this show can now go back to DCA. I mean, well, not that theater, but like if they wanted, it's not a property that is animal exclusive either. So if they want to throw this into another 3D theater somewhere, like DCA or on the West Coast or, wherever, they kind of can. It's not so connected. So. Cool. All right, let's talk about the next bit, which is the most excited I got. I screamed out loud because it's exactly what I wanted. And so I'm right. This is exactly what should happen. And it's, but we're going to move past that. So Dino Land will, and I put in parentheses, probably because they're being very cagey about if this is going to happen or not. Dino Land will probably be replaced with Tropical America. Which is South America Plus, basically, is the way I'm looking at it. And it looks like there's an Encanto meet and greet casita plus something over past, I would say even past, if you look at the concept art, kind of where the old roller coaster was. I think they're expanding the space a little bit. And then it pretty much looks like Indiana Jones Adventure is gonna come over here and take over Dinosaur because it's the exact same freaking ride. So why not?
Control C, Control V. That's all it is. And
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, and I read somebody commented that, well, if they're going to put an indie, why are they putting in the one from California? And that they're not. This is the theme is South America. It has to be the one from Japan, which is the same track layout as
it's the same thing.
all three of them are
That's a really interesting point, Dave, because I was kind of bummed that it was like, oh, I'm just getting
no, because the
Disneyland version.
the Disneyland one is Southeast Asian, so it works.
Sense.
It works much better, right? And so, okay, you own indie now, put indie in here. I'm totally fine with it. Like, especially if they plus up the effects and stuff that are in the one in Japan. The one in Japan's fantastic. They fixed a bunch of the stuff that didn't work in the first version really well. There's that smoke ring effect that I really love that they've done a couple of times. Anyway, look, from a land perspective, I am 90% there. Like, okay, Africa, Asia, South America.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. And we get away from the Zootopia problem, right?
Yeah.
That's great. But please tell me there are going to be actual animals in this. And like actual animal exhibits.
Certainly more than there is now.
Right,
If
more than there is
isn't
now.
Just like a South American aviary. I mean, you already have macaws.
Yeah, right.
So you've got macaws. Get some
And
toucans in there. My kid will flip his shit.
And birds are something that are somewhat missing from this park. There's that one thing the Asia walkthrough, but they could use another one, right?
They have two.
They have
Each
two.
one has
There's
one.
one in Africa. and
Oh,
one
is there
in-
really?
there's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's
they have a
much
pretty good
smaller.
aviary.
Here's how I would do it. Here's my pitch. If I knew they wanted to put Encanto in and the Casita and animals, here's what I would do. I would make Casita a pulsed show that has magic in it, that is the little boy who can speak to animals taking us on a magical journey through his treehouse, right? And his magical animals that he talks to are in media and animatronics and things. But now let's go see the real magic of South America. And he lets you out the door and you walk through the walkthrough. Like they do a pulsed attraction that leads you into a South America
Dave, when I tell you that,
animal
that would
walkthrough.
make me weep.
Oh, me too.
First of all,
Yeah.
The announcement of this made it heralded that my period was coming because I started sobbing. And I was like, this is an unreasonable reaction.
Can we make that a metric of future news, whether or not it triggers that
Triggers
with
your
you?
period.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Kennedy Space Center before?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
There's a bit when you get to go see the space shuttle that they show a video, and it's like this cool like montage of clips and talking about why we need to go to the moon or why we need to go to space, blah blah blah. And then at the end, it has like this reveal where like you realize you're literally in front of the space shuttle, and then like the scrim lifts up and you get a walk into it.
Yeah.
Doing something like that would be a really, really cool thing. Even if it was like a simple, like, here's a 5-minute show where it's like talking about animals and then it lifts up. It's like, oh,
that
now
is
you can go see the
skippable
real ones.
if you want. If it's skippable, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Because here's what someone said online, and I agree. This is your trail. Like have Casita begin the trail
Yeah,
for
exactly.
South America.
Right.
So you can you have your meet and greet, maybe a little thing, and then the trail, which kind of has a mix of casita and the South American animals.
Oh, Jeanine, you know what else they'd have? A butterfly aviary.
Yes.
They
Ooh.
don't
Yes,
have
yes.
that.
A
That's what they should
permanent
have.
Butterfly
Yes.
exhibit.
Permanent.
With,
I love
yes.
butterfly exhibits
Yeah.
Me too.
where they
I
give
As
you the
long as
little
you get
nectar and they,
applesauce.
right.
Yeah.
They fly.
conservation, like they talk about, because they already keep bugs in Rafiki's, and
Mhm.
so and they have like an exhibit about an endangered butterfly and how they're working towards whatever. Like, bring that
Cool.
vibe over into there. I love that idea.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
I want to just make this clear for people too, and this is something my friend Henry Taylor brought up, and I agree. What people don't like about Dinoland is Hester and Chester's. I don't know anyone that doesn't like the other half of Dinoland. The Institute and Restaurantosaurus and that whole sort of that vibe with the camps and everything, the non-concrete portion, it's really pretty. There's
Yeah,
a
the-
lot of gorgeous stuff going on.
I've always
in that
loved the
area.
play area. I've
Yeah.
always
Play
loved
area is
the dig
best
is
on Disney
great.
parks.
I've never loved the restaurant. The
The aesthetics are gorgeous in that
yeah,
restaurant, though.
sure. I'm in a vast minority here that
Mm.
I never really liked the dinosaur ride because
it's-
I
Yeah,
knew
bad.
it was the indie layout and it was like it was shoehorning this other show into it. And when you have, Jurassic Park isn't much better in terms of animatronics. I'm
No,
not saying
it's
better.
worse.
It's
almost.
worse, but it's like it didn't age well. Like you couldn't see any of the dinos by the last couple of years, and I don't know. I think I didn't have the affinity for it because I didn't grow up with that ride. So I understand that
Yeah.
kids love dinosaurs and kids love that land because of it. But man, the Dino-Rama and Hester and Chester's were always like, ugh,
Yeah.
this is we need capacity and flat rides and quick and dirty, and they did that park dirty putting that in.
Well, and I think that's the key to a lot of this is they desperately need to emphasize the children aspect, and
Yeah.
and the concept art shows a lot of lush area for kids to run around in, and if they kind of expand on that as a sort of Encanto themed ish children's play area, that's great. Kids would really, really love that. Whether it's in the casita or not, I think there's a portion there that can be. I want to talk. Go ahead, Jeanine.
Can we talk about the concept art though? Because
Sure.
I've seen a lot of people saying it looks like knots.
What?
Well, because Knott's has the new what is it called? I forget the name of the land. They just reopened it. The little Mexican Fiesta Village.
Yeah, Fiesta
Um,
Village. Mhm.
And that's not a bad thing. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's
Mhm.
it's and it,
But is
that's
it-
that
but is it
that's Mexican,
niche?
right? That's
Yeah.
not South
It looks-
American.
Yeah. I just want to see more like rainforest and mountains and things like that, and less.
Well, but the
Mexico
village,
City.
the village is a big part of the movie, and if they
Yeah.
can spin that stewardship message of the family and their magic, sort of keeping the community alive, if they can spin that stewardship towards animals in every way in that village, I think that might be a right. Come see, what's the kid's name that talks to the animals? I forget. Like if it's all about come see his animal
Yeah.
collection, come say hello, and Antonio. Yeah. I don't know. I'm okay with architecture. The other thing, with people looking at bird's eye concept art like this, don't get your knickers in a bundle. This is
Yeah.
concept art. It's specifically vague, right?
Yeah.
They
But
would
also
never-
intricate. Like for concept art, this is kind of you can
see
tell what's still
identifiable
there.
Objects, yeah.
Yeah, it is certainly a refurb of a land opposed to
Yep.
bulldozing everything and starting.
You can
over.
see where everything goes. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I want to talk a little bit about Indiana Jones. It's my favorite ride of all time. So sure, yep, 100% happy about that. My favorite ride in my favorite park. Cool, I love it. What I will say is, you can, if you want to, we can continue what Everest does for one exclusive mythical beast and do it for all mythical beasts. This can be Dr. Jones and the Sea Society. Sea has done a bunch of research on mythical animals, and like you're gonna go through the camp in the queue and like here's information about all these different mythical animals that are around, and this is the one that's connected with this temple here, and you can do that. Like there's nothing that says you can't bring some mythical animal connection or animals' connection with our cultures, mythical beast connections with culture. You can do it. It's as much about conservation as dinosaur is, in the sense that, people are like, well, it's showing that something's extinct. Yeah, but it wasn't their fault. It wasn't anyone's fault. It just was a big asteroid. So,
right.
I think
if they made a cue that talked about how this, whatever culture is the temple that you're going into, worshipped animals and mythological animals, I think you're fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think the queue needs more fans, because it certainly doesn't seem like if you know that extended queue, it's all outside. It could get rough.
I bet you they'll enclose it and do a little more inside,
because there's not a lot of queue inside, to be frank.
Disney World needs to be mindful of their queues. I don't think that they can get away with outdoor queues for much longer. I know so many people who are not going to Disney for good chunks of the year because it's too hot.
Yeah,
totally. You look at the queue for the Navi River journey. It's like that whole thing's outside. It's covered,
crazy.
But it's still outside. And it's like, oh my god, they have some fans, but that's it. And that's gross.
It's rough.
Yeah, I can't. Don't do that with Indy, please.
What I think is interesting is it is fairly set up. This is not going to happen, but if they want to have a mythical beast that's different than a snake or something, I'm just saying Shanghai has a huge crocodile just sitting around on their water ride. Bring it over, put it in. If you want to do something a little different, but that has a South American vibe, which a crocodile certainly does, that would work.
They need to bring the big ropes course from Shanghai to
oh my god,
that thing is incredible.
Yeah,
it's my favorite attraction there.
That would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, I have no problem with this. This is one of those things where, and we all have one or two of these where it's like, I don't care, I love this so much that, whether this is thematically appropriate, I couldn't give a shit.
But when is it happening? When is it going to happen? That's all I have to ask.
That was part of the reason that I was crying, because my son loves Encanto and would flip. But if this even happens, he's going to be what, 15? Okay, well, nope.
Well, here's here would be my assumption, which is you could close Chester and Hester tomorrow if you wanted to. Like, it's not a high capacity. I mean, some people do the rides or do the games, but it's whatever. Encanto meet and greet will happen there before Dinosaur turns into Indy. Encanto is going to be, I don't know if they'll add, I think it's going to be sporadic, but I could see that being the first thing. The roller coaster there, the old mouse coaster is already gone. There's the spaces there. It would take them a week if they really, Disney, it would take a month and a half, but those are tiny little carnival ride areas and stuff. It shouldn't take very long to gut it if they really wanted to. And their e-ticket's still available. And then when Casita opens, then they'll cut the e-ticket. And probably, I don't know, I'm really speculating, but if you opened the Zootopia 3D show and the Casita meet and greet, you could take down an e-ticket for a while. Which is, Indy would probably should be a fairly quick, in the terms of theme park stuff, turnaround, because it's so cookie cuttered out, but there's a lot of stipulations. I'm sure that building has a lot of problems too that they're going to have to redo. So who knows? But there you go. That's Animal Kingdom. There's Hollywood Studios news. This is the only thing that connects with Hollywood Studios. It's technically also everywhere else there's a Star Tour. Ahsoka's coming to Star Tours. Should be really exciting. I hear that she pops up on the screen and goes, Star Tours, what are you doing here? I'm very excited. It's going to be thrilling. This is great. Oh, am I enjoying Ahsoka? Fuck no, I'm not enjoying Ahsoka. It sucks. It's terrible.
Hot take.
I want to love it.
I don't think it's that hot.
I want to love it, and I don't. I love her as a performer. I don't like her performance in this. And
I love Chopper. I love all those characters. That show, the editing is
the whole thing feels like it's really drawn out and padding time. I want to love it, and I don't.
Yeah, but I don't consider this a shock. Yeah, Star Wars stuff gets added to Star Tours. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm surprised it's taken this long. So, I think it's weird they didn't mention Mando, though. I thought that was weird. I don't know if it's going to be like
thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be
Mandalorian
combined.
makes way more sense to shoehorn into Star Tours than Ahsoka, just because it's pop. I mean, just from a strictly cynical view, it's wildly popular.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I bet you it's going to be a mix. To be completely honest, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, whatever. Cool. Star Tours. I don't know. My enthusiasm for Star Tours is a little, I don't know, old. Though I love the OG, but whatever. Okay, new news. This came out today. Disney has announced a release of a Disney Legacy animated film collection with 100 Blu-rays from
God.
the animation studio and Pixar. It's really pretty. There's 3 volumes inside of this box set. Each of them look like storybooks and they stand on their own. So you can open them up like books and just, there's about 6 Blu-rays per page. And it comes with 100 movies. This comes out in November. It goes everywhere from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Elemental. But
the packaging's gorgeous.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah. It's a really
I'm wondering though, which versions of these are they all new remasters? Because there's
No.
a couple that have been sitting for a while.
Well, it's weird that some of these aren't 4K releases too, because they did the Cinderella's. But then again, at this point, any 4K release I want to come from Criterion, since they've worked with Wally. So no, I bet you these menus, they're gonna have one stock menu that's the same as the look of the thing, and they're just gonna throw these all on Blu-ray. But if you don't have the collection and you really want to collect like a ton real fast, it's a good way of doing it. It is funny how you go from, like, let's see here, Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi, Cello dos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, and then you get kind of farther down, and you get to a Goofy movie. Okay, that makes sense. Pocahontas, Toy Story. Okay, James and Giant Peach. Okay, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay, and then you go a little farther down, and it's like the Tigger movie, Dinosaur. Okay. Return to Neverland. Well, The Jungle Book 2. I don't know about Home on the Range. Okay, well, I mean, isn't there anything else we can, let's see here. Let's Frankenweenie. Okay, I suppose. Planes, which made millions of dollars, by the way. I always forget that Dane Cook's Planes made millions of dollars, but it did.
Did
in
it?
theaters? Yeah, it was a huge success in theaters, like in the sense of what it cost, because it cost nothing for them to make.
Yeah, sure.
And then Raya, Luca, and Kanto turning. I don't think Luca came out on. There's all these have come out except for Elemental. Yes.
How many of these are they making, and who's buying it?
There are physical media collectors that this is really important to.
Because apparently this is $1,500.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, it's $15 a movie, which is not that crazy, but
Right.
it's $1,500.
I mean, you're paying.
Really? Oh,
That's what
goodness.
and the tweet.
Yeah,
that
that's
I
what the
saw,
comments say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and 15 of those dollars are Planes. Oh no, I'm sorry, Planes and its sequel, Planes Fire and Rescue.
And also Cars 3.
Yeah. Let's see. They didn't really ignore any ones that people would love. They're all on there.
No.
That's what's interesting. It's a full set for sure. Black Cauldron's on there. Like, I'd love that.
I love
I like
Black
the,
Cauldron.
they're putting on the stuff, but
Yeah.
it's pretty. There are people who will love this.
Piglet's big movie.
Little Mermaid was 89. I forget that. That was.
We're old.
It feels like that. Like there was that 90s resurgence of Disney stuff, and I feel like Little Mermaid was the start of it. But I
for
forget
sure.
it was not the 90s.
Yeah, I was 2, just so we're clear. Yeah. How's it?
Get
how's
off
it
my
feel?
lawn.
Don't worry, I got called sir.
Date.
I got
Did you
called
get-
sir for the first time by a student the other day, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
It starts.
You're
Sorry,
pretty
sir.
much dead at this point. Sorry.
When I was called
Sorry,
the
Nick.
first time I called
Yeah.
Mr. Cobb, I think I walked into the sea and died. So
This is just a vestige of your personality left over.
I came out when that I came out when that was in theaters.
You came out.
You literally came out.
Yeah, you came out. For real. So yeah, that's cool. Like, it makes total sense. This is not a shock that something like this has been released. I just think it's kind of neat. If you really wanted it, it's available for you. So for all our talk of physical media dying off in the Disney thing, they've recently surprised us with certain Disney Plus shows, and then this. So let's head on over to the West Coast. Disneyland, new Haunted Mansion. Some of these announcements came before D23. They were like, we have too much to talk about at D23, so we're just gonna throw things out there in the ether. This one was a new Haunted Mansion grounds expansion retail shop as well, coming soon. Disneyland folks, what do you think? I think that's just Dave, but
I mean, the queue, I'm not thrilled with the art, but I'll wait and see it in person. The queue that's there is just switchbacks, and they're terrible. So anything to make that better. The thing that made me upset was that the little plaza in front with the fountain seems to be going away.
right.
And I think that's a bad idea. That's a lovely little shaded area in New Orleans Square. I will mourn the loss of that, but making the queue a better experience is a good call. I'm not sure I get the idea of an exit shop other than because there's already a cart there, and maybe it just does well enough that they're expanding it. My thing is, what is it? And
it's probably like Memento Mori here.
Sure, but no, like architecturally,
I see.
it like how does it fit in? And so I started racking my brain and thinking, is it like where the servants live? Is it where the horses are kept? Is it what do they
garden
call
shed?
that? The
Kinda
garden
looks
shed?
a bit barn-like.
Well, what's funny is I said this in a conversation with a couple of designer friends on Facebook, and Tom Morris piped in. He says, "If you have to think that hard, it's not working."
Yeah,
And I'm
totally.
like, he's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. And so I don't know. This is one of those things where I'll wait to see it before I pass judgment on it. The idea of making the queue better is a good thing, though.
I think if it is, if it does that vibe, I think you go with what is it, the groundskeeper with the dog? Is it groundskeeper? He's the groundskeeper, right? Is that the idea in the ride?
Yeah. Oh, you make it his place.
His spot, and
Sure.
and maybe you have a shovel and some dirt and a hand coming out of some little creepy portions there, because the one
Right.
here is just basically part of Liberty Square. It doesn't, I mean, it is more themed towards Haunted Mansion because it's closer, but it's just kind of its own thing.
Yeah. The thing that's throwing me in that concept art is if you look at the corner of the house where it's shown in the art, like that new queue looks like it's where the train tracks are. Like I can't figure out in my head where that's placed, because the little trellis they show in front could be the current queue. I don't know. We'll see when it opens. Like we'll see what ends up being closed. But that queue is a pretty miserable experience right now, and so I get it. But man, that little fountain plaza is such a gem in that park. Not that I haven't spent a lot of time there, but it is currently the overflow queue. Like they loop around that fountain under those trees when the Haunted Mansion queue sticks out, which is good. I mean, it's not a terrible experience. It's the switchbacks in that queue that are painful because there's no shade cover and it's horrible when the sun's overhead. So I can see the reason for all of this. I just hope it's that we don't lose the charm of that fountain plaza. That's the big part that I winced at.
Haunted Mansion, we'll see what happens. This is another one kind of like Star Tours, which is more than just one place, but we put it here. They did show off the Lewis animatronic a little bit from Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which I hope starts getting. This is not the first. We've seen animals and stuff. I think this might be the first animatronic we've seen, but it looks like a big boy.
Yeah.
And this hopefully will help some of those stupid rumors that went along for ages, which was, they're going to get rid of everything and it's all going to be projection and blah, 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 blah. There's no way. Like this thing's huge.
They've said that there's like dozens
I know.
of animatronics in it. So where is that coming from?
Anyone who wanted Splash Mountain to stay, basically.
I think that checks out.
I mean, as long as they're throwing new animatronics, I'm all for it. Because I was one of the nervous who was like, they're just going to kind of gut it and sort of like, here's 2 new things. And it's like, well, that's,
for sure.
You need to fill it up. And so, if they are making a lot, that's good. But it's like, here's one. It's like,
I love the picture
Yeah.
of Lewis because there's the little cheek, so he's definitely going to be like playing a trumpet or something.
Mhm.
Because those are going to inflate or something. Like the big lower jowls remind me of the Ursula animatronic. There's going to be like a
Oh
big fleshy
yeah.
bottom part of his mouth. Yeah, I mean I love that character. I adore that film. So I'm very excited to see how they animate him.
This feels like a last scene kind of
Yeah.
animatronic.
Right.
So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think this is a good step. They know what they need to do. This is weirdly, I kind of feel like this is the ride that they fully recognize they got to get it right. So,
Yeah.
this is a good step. You can also now, well, not now, but soon for Disneyland and Epcot and Disneyland Paris, meet Asha from Wish. We've known this for forever because casting has been looking for people for forever. So cool, I guess. There was
Yeah.
some stuff about Wish today. It's fine, whatever. I don't. Either Wish is going to be cool or it's not. I don't know yet if it's going to work for me. I love Chris Pine. I like that. Alan Tudyk seems to be doing his voice of Clayface from Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Acting. So if he wants to do that, it works for me. Thoughts? This is kind of an obvious.
That's kind of like until I see the movie. I mean, I don't even know what the character is. So I
Yeah,
love
I mean,
the
it
trailer.
could be-
The trailer looks great.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's another kind of a surprise, like an Encanto or like
Yeah.
even like Frozen for me. It was kind of like caught me off guard. It's like, oh, it's actually solid. And like, so I hopefully it's in that vein.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm going to see it for sure.
They sung some songs today from the movie, apparently.
Oh, cool.
So it seems to be pretty good reaction. We'll see what happens.
Who wrote the music?
I don't know.
Exitencio and
Buddy Baker from
Yeah.
the grave. Yeah. Let's move over to California Adventure. This is not an announcement, but it is something that has occurred, and it felt like the time to talk about it. San Francisco Square has opened for all to see. I don't think anyone's had an opportunity on this cast to go see it.
I
Oh,
haven't
excuse
been
me.
yet.
It started a video. My Grammarly ad popped up out of nowhere. So yeah, what do you guys think? I think it's kind of cute. I don't have any issues with any of this, but then again, I
No.
don't have a real connection with that area. So
yeah,
No,
I mean,
I love the movie, so I think it's great. I had a lot of people ask me, like friends of mine, adult friends of mine, going, "Really? Did this movie do good?" I'm like, "Oh, this was a massive hit, and there was a TV show, and like, you know,
We love the show. Like
Yeah.
the number of nights that I have let Desmond stay up past his bedtime because he's begging to watch the Baymax shorts. It's
I mean,
happened.
Wow.
it looks like they didn't really do anything. They didn't really gut out what was there
It
already.
just
So I
looks
mean,
like appliques basically.
yeah, I mean, they just sort of reskinned it and then redid the bridge, and it's like, all right, cool, I'm okay with that. It's like take an area that's loosely themed, make it more themed, and yeah, I mean, this seems like a no-brainer for me.
Are people
Yeah.
complaining about it?
no, I don't think so. I have not
Good.
got any. No,
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't-
people are like, no one like was like, oh, Pacific Wharf. Like it's
What's the
there wasn't a
attachment?
love.
You know,
I will say, as a someone who hates synergy, but it would make sense for synergy here. Like, do some Magic Band Plus stuff with this. Like
100%.
feels
Yeah.
like it's ripe for like, oh, let's do some cool San Francisco. Like you tap it and like stuff happens on a screen. But I don't know. Like make that more valuable for
superhero stuff." Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I did see people trying to snark on, like one of the columns, I guess, for the bridge, the cladding came off and there was like loose bolts and something, and they tried to make a big deal about that. It's like, that's a punch list item. They'll get to it. Like they're still
Yeah.
working on this when the park closes. Trust me. So, but it's cute. I love Baymax. I want to hug Baymax. He's like hugging a giant marshmallow.
There is a poster for the college.
Oh, cool.
in this stuff. And there is a website. It's not available. I think I looked for the domain because I was like, okay, I can't remember what the domain was. But I was like, could I buy this for $20? Have they thought this through? And it's been picked up. So there's nothing there. It's just a dead link. But I think it's fun that I kind of wish that they had done something with that too. Who knows? Maybe they will. But it'd be cool if you did that and it took you right back to the app and some game. I mean, that's the thing too, is like you could add stuff to the normal app too for stuff. But yeah, it's fine. I again, it's hard to, when something works, it works, and I think this works. Speaking of things that could work, but I have no idea. I'm utterly clueless. We have sort of our first kind of look at the Avengers e-ticket vehicle, which kind of meshes with the earlier concept that they're sort of fighting King Thanos, the villain version who won. And then it's a huge Marvel multiverse fight. I am so burnt out when it comes to Marvel, I couldn't care less. But at the same time, I don't know. This looks like, someone mentioned this looks like the Peter Pan car as well. It's that
I was
same
gonna say,
vibe.
this is the scoop vehicle from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's 2 rows of 4, so it could be Rise of the Resistance or Remy style trackless, but with the side guards, which means okay, they're blocking my view like Spider-Man, meaning it's going to be a combination of scenery and locking into projection moments. I still stand by what I mentioned on a podcast a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago when we talked about Fantasy Springs and the Peter Pan ride. I don't think this is a dark ride. I think this is a vehicle that moves into place for the same
Flight.
motion base as Flight of Passage. I'm almost convinced of it, because when you look at the land behind Avengers Campus, there's not a lot, but they could put one big thing and a big screen or 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a dark ride. If it is, it's a very small one. But that Peter Pan vehicle to me was, this is how we get the same amount of passengers in front of that giant screen, but block their side view, which is different than what they did with Avatar, where it was a row of 10 and you're kind of blocked from the sides from seeing the other groups of passengers. But
And it looks like, am I wrong? I'm looking at the King Thanos concept art. I need to get a little closer. Are they wearing 3D glasses in that art?
No, they're not. And that's a mark towards, okay, maybe it's more like Ratatouille or Rise. I just look at that. I keep looking at that land, what that they have back there, and it's just not a lot,
Yeah, and they don't have a reason to put. I mean, in all honesty, they don't need to put glasses on them for a concept art if they don't want to.
No, not
so
really.
because that is a giveaway too.
The concept art is wild too. I mean, you've got all kinds of characters that people like who haven't watched every bit of Marvel content would be like, "What is going on?" You got Werewolf by Night in there, even She-Hulk. A lot of people haven't seen. You've got the animated stuff from What If.
Yeah.
And obviously they went, hey, we have a multiverse now. Let's show it off in a ride. But that piece of concept art to me is actually really a marketing image, not concept art. It's not an indicative of the experience. It's like, look at all this stuff we're gonna throw at you. Isn't it fun?
Yeah. Well, they were like, this design combines elements of Tony Stark's time suits with Xandarian, and then I fell asleep because I was like, I can't.
Man, Disney. I mean, it sucks that Disney didn't have the license for Marvel stuff for east of the Mississippi, because if Disney 5 years ago announced they were making a Marvel / Star Wars theme park, that would have been the greatest thing ever. Like that would have been it. And
if that was the whole park, was those two items. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it's like a theme. Do an IP park where it's I mean, exactly what Epic's doing, where it's like, here's 4 big IP. We're just gonna make a loosely themed thing to tie them all together. Just do Star Wars, Marvel, and then 2 other IPs, and man, that would have crushed. That would have done so well. But I feel like it's too late now. I think they missed their time.
Yeah.
And so, anyway,
we'll see what happens.
What could have been. I'm a big MCU fan too, and I've watched it all, and it's like I totally understand the people getting tired of it right now and not understanding how stuff fits together, and it's wild. It's too much of it. They went too big too quick after Phase 3.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the problem with today. As we record, nothing came out really. I mean, they were talking about animated stuff, but they had this. It was a studio's presentation. They could do whatever. And this whole D23, they basically ignored. Besides saying Ahsoka is going to be giving people Ahsoka ears, it's been pretty Marvel and Star Wars not. Like they're not talking. And it's because they've already moved everything back. They've recognized, oh yeah, this stuff costs a lot of money and we're not making any money off of it. start chilling out the DVDs. Like we need something. Like there's got to be another revenue stream here for this stuff because it's
bring out the Muppets to pitch the MCU.
yeah, like whatever. So cool. Again, we'll see what happens with this Avengers e-ticket. This is a long way off, I think.
Yeah.
They're gonna milk what they got for a long time. Honestly, it's weird. I feel like this whole D23 was really about Disney World, not Disneyland, and that's new. I haven't had that happen in years. It feels like New Fantasyland maybe. So I'll take it. Let's go to the cruise line real quick. I should mention about the cruise line. This was the best presentation. He was really, really good. And he like knew how to be a public speaker, and like he was very excited and passionate about what he was talking about, and it didn't feel like he was reading a teleprompter.
Who is this?
I do not know the man's name.
Okay.
He was part of I don't know, it's not even called cruise lines, it's like experiences and travel plus,
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
But he knew what he was doing. So they announced a couple days ago they did a grand reveal for the Disney Treasure, which is one of their ships. And there's multiple stuff that they basically released about it. We have pictures of the Grand Hall. They're kind of leaning in on certain areas. The dining looks to have a Coco themed show and area for dining, with what appears to be a 20-year-old man playing. So okay,
Playing Miguel.
I get it. Yeah. All right. It's a little weird, but yeah, I get what they're trying to do there. Marvel dining spot with but the lounge. Let's talk about the Jungle Cruise inspired Skipper Society lounge,
Cute.
which is incredible.
Cute
and very awesome. They have the Periscope pub, which is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah, that made me excited.
That rules. It's very funny to see them do anything 20,000 Leagues when they literally just canceled their Nemo show post production. Well, it was an association with a British company, but still. Yeah, they have a Mulan area. It looks like the ice cream parlor, like we thought with the map, that ice cream parlor is Zootopia themed. It's cute. I honestly, this is the first cruise ship that I thought, okay, this is more what I would want. It feels a little sleeker, in my opinion. The designs feel slightly more modern.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the Aquamouse new footage for like a mummy Aquamouse thing going on there. That rules. I loved all this. What are you guys' thoughts on the treasure?
I'm going on my very first cruise ever literally next week. So
Which not
one?
a Disney cruise, I'm assuming.
no, it's not a Disney one. It's just a Carnival cruise. My wife and I booked a cruise we booked a cruise 2019 for 2020, and then it got pushed and canceled and pushed and canceled, and then and so we had to reschedule. We finally rescheduled one, so we're going out of Florida, just like Turks and Caicos and Bahamas and stuff. But so I'll let you know. Like I've my friends, my sister and my family, on like my nephews and my brother-in-law, they go on Disney cruises all the time. They love it. Like they were on the Wish a month after it came out, and they love it. And they say like the level of quality for those ships as compared to the other ones is out of control. So it's like cool. I mean, I would love to check it out. I mean, let's see if I'm a cruise guy, and then I'll let you know if I can go on more Disney stuff.
I've done 2 Disney cruises. The first one was a 40th birthday present for my husband, and he's like, why are we going on a Disney cruise? And because full of kids, blah blah blah. What he didn't know is when we got there, his mom and sister and brother-in-law and niece and nephew were on the ship as a birthday present. Yes, I'm the best husband ever. And so, but after we were done, we looked at each other like, we would totally do that again, even without the kids. That was fantastic. And so it was on the smaller ships. It was on the first 2 ships. But we did another one like a year later with just a group of an adult friend group, and had a great time. It was really good. So I was very excited to hear this announcement. I'm not as enamored with I'm a little nervous at the big ships, because what I loved about the Disney cruise, the ones I did at least, they were a little more intimate. They were a little smaller. They didn't feel like I was on some giant Carnival ship, But then I saw this announcement, and I want to know which 7 of you are joining forces with me with money to get the Epcot-inspired Tomorrow Tower suite.
I am dying for that. Look at the ceiling. I've been like sitting here patiently waiting to talk about that ceiling.
And I'm not talking like the 3 to 5 days. I'm talking we do like the 7+ day thing, and we stay in that.
Lord.
All right, we got 3.
It's got its own elevator. It's so
My
cool.
fiance, my 10-year-old and me, we're in.
Oh, I literally want to get a group of nerds just to group our credit cards together and go into debt, just to go into
and
to go
what
on that.
debt it would be for
Oh,
sure.
just glorious. Anyway, I thought it was really cool. I love the diversity of the spaces. The bringing in, hey, this goes back to the IP thing. We know they're going to use it, but now they're using it in fun ways. There's a Jack Cricket Cafe inspired by Mulan, by the Fa family's cricket. There's the Hey Hey Cafe from Moana. There's the 20,000 Leagues bar. Like, okay, and the rumor is, the one thing they didn't announce is that the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge that's on the other ship, on the Wish, I believe, is not going on this, and the rumor is that's going to be a haunted mansion bar that they haven't mentioned yet. So,
Oh my god!
take my effing money right now. Like, I'm very intrigued on going on another Disney cruise because of this ship announcement.
Mouse looks
Yeah,
awesome.
it's adorable.
It's
My
fun.
10 would die.
I love that
Yeah.
they turned it into like a little mini dark ride plus a water slide. It was a very clever idea.
Cute.
Fantastic. Really want to go on that. Like, want to book the cruise just to take my kid on that, because he loves Disney. He loves water slides.
You know what? Instead of us paying money, Disney, just let the Rat Castle podcast go and do. Like, I don't mind being a shill. Like,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
fine. I don't care. Like,
No, I'm an
fine.
absolute whore. I will say all the positive things you want. Well, here's the thing. I came back raving about the Disney cruises.
yeah, I don't think I want to have a lot of bad things to say. Like,
Yeah,
it looks
that's my
great.
experience with. I've never been on a cruise, but everyone I know who's done a Disney cruise, like one of my best friends did her first one and then immediately booked on her cruise like a 20-day cross Atlantic
My God.
cruise.
Yeah, we met people on our Disney cruise who were DVC members who basically live on the boat for like 6 months out of the year. They have so many DVC points because they've been
my
DVC
God.
members for like 30 years, and they're retarees, and they bring their service dog with them, and they live on the ship, and it's like the ship knows them, and so they end up having the same room and leaving stuff behind, and they have to go ashore while the ship gets clean, but they leave their stuff, and they live on the boat. Like, I don't know if I could do that. I'm not that kind of Disney gay.
That's some
but
Thurston Howell shit right there. Like,
but like, the food is astounding. It's really, really good and inclusive.
Oh,
and
I want to go.
yeah, I mean, I want to do the other one I want to do, and this is not for this podcast, but I want to do the Virgin cruises too, because they look really fun and interesting.
and you like virgins. Yeah.
And I like Virgins. No, and we actually, I think we actually worked on like early concepts for them. I worked on the Virgin cruise idea like 8-10 years ago. So I want to see if any of it came true. But
that's cool.
They look really neat.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're nifty. The only other cruise line news is that the next ship is called Disney Adventure, and they're working on. This is one of 3 new ones, I think they said. Unless they're counting. I don't know if they're counting Treasure as one of those 3. I don't think so. I think they were like, right now we're building 3. This seems to be a burgeoning business for them, and it seems to be working out.
The adventure one, the neat thing about the adventure one, it's going to be Southeast Asia. It's going to be like Singapore and like.
That's
totally
really cool.
Yeah.
Because you're also getting the opportunity. Most likely, you can kind of weave in some Asian park experiences pretty easily.
Well, hell, let's if we're going to put our money together, let's just put our money together and ask Disney to take us on one of those Disney adventure things that's all the parks around the world. And like, did you see that thing? What is it? $10,000 per person, I think.
Yeah, just let me do it.
We'll write articles about it. We will take lots of photos. We'll make people want to do it. Disney, come on.
We have more influence than you think we do, Disney.
We have more influence than money. Please help us out.
Well, that's true for sure. Absolutely. Okay, let's go over to Shanghai. Speaking of Asian parks, Zootopia Land. Lots of more details and ride details were released this week about Zootopia Land. This thing is really, really pretty. I very much like it a lot. I don't want it in Animal Kingdom, but I very much like the look of Zootopia. I think this is really cute. You have, if you've not seen it, we'll talk a little bit about before we talk about the attraction, let's just talk about the meet and greets and stuff, and the food and shopping. They have really cute pawsicles, and they have huge ice cream or sickles for like big animals. And if you've not seen, there's different benches. Some are huge benches that you can sit in and they like envelop you, and others are tiny benches. So they have all these different themed benches for different animal types. yeah, what do you guys think about this Zootopia land?
I love it. I love it so much. My friend Morgan was one of the lead designers on it, and I knew nothing about it because he was, sticking to his NDA. I'm like, please, please, please tell me about it. And he sent me the link the first thing this was announced, and I was like, oh my god, it's so pretty. Like,
Yeah,
that's
tip of the cap to him.
that is a perfect example of that's taking me someplace I've never been and immersing me in it in a physical way. The ride looks fun. I mean, it's Rise, right? That's what it's going to be. There's even from the description, it says you also fall from the canopies of the rainforest part. Okay, that's the part where you lock into a motion base, like or drive into the little domes like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But I'm all for it. I love that world. It's kind of weird riding in a cop car. I mean,
concept art of like the nighttime rainforest scene with the little gondola, the waterfall. That's gorgeous.
It's
it
gonna,
looks
and
great.
you know what? You can. It's funny because you can kind of feel where the screens are, like in the concept art. You can kind of work it out in your brain, in a good way too. Though, like you can. It's going to be a lot of 3D with physical sets. Maybe not 3D. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I don't think it will. If you watch the ride through the Universal's Jurassic World ride,
oh my god, if it's like that, then forget
where
about it.
it's moving eye point rendered media. So
the greatest
squelching or squinching. What do they call that?
Squinched media. Yeah, you don't necessarily need glasses, and it looks amazing on that ride. So. But I think it's balanced with physical environments and some that Clawhauser animatronic. I just want to hug it. It's so cute.
Yeah, riding in a cop car. That's interesting. As I've always said, a cab. All cops are bunnies.
I don't love that.
All cops are bunnies.
Yeah,
all cops are bunnies.
What do you think is going to happen with the animatronic, the Hops animatronic they showed off at South by Southwest? Do you think that was just a blue sky thing?
You will never see it. Yeah,
no?
Nothing.
That's such a cool thing, though. It was so neat.
Unless Dave knows something I don't, because
no. I'm just laughing because you're probably right. Maybe it'll be in a parade or something. Who knows?
I mean, they did bring out that Groot one finally for like 5 minutes. But,
in a highly protected environment where the guests were 20 feet
behind
from
a box.
it. Yeah, right.
I don't think it's gonna be here. I love, the show looks great, or the attraction looks great. If you look at the concept art, they've showed this in other areas. Like, they're kind of doing great moments in history stuff. They're having puppets pop their heads out of windows and do little vignettes. The one that I'm looking at has a elephant trunk that looks like it sprays guests, which is adorable. This is great. I really love this.
It's great. It's really pretty.
I don't know where it should go in the States if it ever
Magic
came
Kingdom.
here, but you're
Magic
absolutely
Kingdom.
correct. I think that's a great place for it. Yeah,
100%.
and I
Put
bet
it between Adventureland and Fantasyland.
Well, and Kingdom doesn't have its own, Rise-esque ride, so you can get away with that too. And all you really gotta do is make them ride something that's not a cop car. And people make this big deal about like, oh well, I don't know, cop cars, and I'm like, again, I know we are a progressive pod. No one gives a shit. Like, they just,
and Judy Hopps she's a good guy. Come on,
she's a good cop. I'm very I'm very excited for the sequel. I don't know if you know anything about Zootopia 2. It's based on Serpico, so it'd be interesting to see what happens with that.
Kids, go Google it.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
Man. Just cats with piles of like catnip and it's just going nuts.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh.
We're almost to the end here, but a couple more things. I just put this under Frozen Lands because there's just a lot of Frozen Lands opening. They kind of just showed a bunch of stuff. The only thing that really stuck out to me was you got a bit of a sneak peek of the Kristoff animatronic for Disneyland Paris's version, which looks in model form basically like the one we have here in Epcot. But again, his face is not a computer screen, so already props to that. But I mean, thoughts on just these different Frozen Lands? I mean, it's weird. I feel like there's so many Frozen Lands. I'm losing track of what looks like where. But I think they're all really pretty. That's all I really got.
It goes back to that, hey, let's not copy paste. Great. Then one of them is a coaster, one of them is a boat ride. Like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah. You have Oakens at the sled, basically Seven Dwarfs at, where is that one at? Is that Shanghai?
That's
Or
Hong
no,
Kong.
that's
Hong
that's
Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, it's
Everyone-
Seven Dwarves. Okay, that makes sense.
I think so. I think that's what it is, if I remember correctly. But
Is there also a sauna as part of the queue? Can I step into a sauna and have some steam?
Have some steam.
Ogun, with
I wish.
Ogun for a while.
Everyone's
a frozen spa at one of the hotels where it's like that hot cold thing they do at Asian spas would be amazing. They should totally do that in Hong Kong or Shanghai.
Or they just at a hotel. It would just make sense to.
Yeah, totally.
That's a great theme. That works great. Do that. That's fun. Cool. Frozen. I get it. I don't know. I don't have any love for Frozen. It's not my age group, but it's pretty. Whatever.
Second one's pretty damn good.
The second one's great. I think.
Yeah, no, that's what's
movie.
weird is I like them all. I actually don't like. I don't love the music. I know that's apocryphal. Like people hate me for that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's just a certain Broadway style that I don't particularly love, and whatever. But cool.
You're anti Jonathan Groff. I see how it is. That's cool.
No, I'm pro Jonathan Groff. I saw Cog. All right, that's how far back I go with Jonathan Groff. Yeah. I saw Cog. That was the David Sedaris movie. Everybody, no one remembers that got made. I think it was Cog. Did I get that right? I know I'm questioning myself.
I think that's right. That sounds right.
Where is? Yeah. Let me see. Yep, I'm right. I'm right. Corey Stahl's in that. It's a really interesting movie. Anyway,
don't know anything about it.
So make sure you watch Cog on Disney Plus. Speaking of Disney Plus, we're going to kind of finish up with this because I think we talked about it for a second, and I think it's really interesting news. It sucks. Disney Plus cuts release plans for both the already filmed Nautilus show and the Spiderwick Chronicles. They're pulling a Zazie, and they're just going to be like, I don't know, go shop them around somewhere else. Because both of these were, I think Spiderwick was completely done under Disney. I know the Nautilus was a UK scripted kind of thing.
Spiderwick was Paramount because they did.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. Okay. So they.
So I think it was a co-production, but so I think Paramount's shopping it around now. Here's the question I have.
So is Nautilus. Nautilus seems to have been some sort of, I don't know if it was BBC or it was some sort of connection with a UK.
Right.
Something.
And that's my question. Like, we know that they're doing this because they take some sort of tax write-off. Isn't selling the show to another network considered profiting off of it? I don't understand. Or maybe it's the way that the way the deals are. Yeah, right.
Like, I don't get it. Like, you make a thing and then you sell it to somebody else so they can make money off of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. This is the dialogue that went through my head. Hey, you know what people have been trying to make for like 20 years? A real Captain Nemo Nautilus thing because it's in public domain. You know, we've tried it with Will Smith. There's been talk with The Rock. There's been talk. Everyone's been kind of playing around with this. Do you think we should, we are Disney. We have a connection to this property like nobody else does, period. Yeah, like when we think 20,000 Leagues, we think Disney. Yeah. Should we continue that? Nah. Like, we'll just, like, whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Is it just
because
bad?
Is it bad?
Is it just bad? Like what they produced, did it end up just being bad?
It's a tax write-off. They don't give a shit if it's bad as long as it keeps the brand alive. And what I don't get is you're putting a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea bar on your newest cruise ship, and you're like, we don't need to continue pushing this intellectual property that anyone can use, but we have sort of a cultural grip on. Like, what is your thinking with that? It's super weird to me when Disney themselves lacks anything besides Marvel and Star Wars, and they're desperately like, oh, what do we do? Like, we need properties that aren't just these two things. What kind of franchisey stuff could we do? And then they cancel like one of the only things that's got high. Everyone knows what 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is, whether you've ever seen the movie or not. It's high recognition. It's high, like, make trilogies and do all sorts of shit with. I completely don't understand this move.
They're scrambling, right? They need to cut every dollar they can, and because all of this boils down to the loss of growth in streaming, the strikes. There's so much against them right now, and they were already on the warpath, right? Because of what is it, 20% attendance down in Walt Disney World since 2019, 10% down overall in Orlando hotel bookings. Like they're they're worried, and so they need to show the boards, the board of directors and all the shareholders, here, look, we're saving money. And so, and if you know, this whole thing about viewership that the WGA and SAG want, about knowing what the viewership and streaming is, if Disney or any of the other studios actually let their shareholders know those numbers, it's going to be
horrible.
It's the
everything goes back to cable in like a month.
In like a month, right? Because they're either making more money than they're reporting, or higher viewing, or they're not, or it's not doing shit. And so they're screwed either way if they give those numbers up, and that's going to be the linchpin that is going to cause all of this to come tumbling down. So that's why they're trying to find every nickel and dime to get rid of, to sort of get that albatross of streaming out from around their neck.
Well, and it's a shell game, because the problem with a lot of this is, you know, no one is going to spend even a month's subscription to Disney Plus to watch Nautilus.
Right.
Because it's not going to be a thing. Now, do you need that kind of content? Just do you have to have content? Yeah. Can you expand on that and do stuff with it? Absolutely. Right. But it is not one of those things what is driving all of streaming, which is, what's the one big IP that you have to desperately get a month's membership so you're inside of the
things, basically.
Yeah, so you're in the cultural conversation. And even Stranger Things isn't making Netflix enough money, you know, like, so like, what can we make Funkos out of? What can be put on shelves? Like, and I get that. But when you're thinking that mentality, it's so short gamed, because I mean, you could have they had it all right. They were doing it just like the book. I mean, it's done. You know, there's an Indian gentleman playing. I don't know if he's British in origin. I don't know him personally, but Nemo is Indian originally. It was it was correct representation. It was an interesting vibe for it. It could have done gangbusters and at least pushed to new things, but I don't know. Short-term wins for long-term losses is how I see a lot of this stuff, for sure. But and I have no connection to Spiderwick Chronicles. I didn't see the movies. I don't know if this is a cool show or not.
The books were great. They were making that movie when I was working for Paramount Park, so I actually developed dark rides and stuff based around that property, and it's actually really cool. It's a great YA fantasy thing that leverages everything you know about the generic fantasy trope characters, but puts this cool spin on them. It's really great.
It got one movie? Was it a one movie?
They got one movie, and it didn't do great. Yeah, it didn't do well.
The Aragon, as I call it, the one and done.
Yeah. It's a fun world, though. I can totally see it'd be perfect for a TV show. Actually, it's basically like kids move into their, you know, crazy uncle's house on the edge of the forest, and the forest seems like a regular forest until you look through this little stone that he left behind, and when you look through the stone, you can see magic, and then magic people can see you, and then you can see them all the time.
Cool.
So it's like it's a totem of power in this world. It's really
cool.
Cute. Yeah, it's very cute.
Well, I assume this is just gonna go to Paramount Plus.
Probably.
Yes. I'm not sure why it wasn't in the first place, but who knows?
Anyway, maybe a co-production.
Yeah, maybe. Jack, any thoughts about any of this business?
Not really. I'll be honest. Like those are two properties that I kind of never really got into. So I'm like, Spiderwick never really got into, and you know, I sort of missed out the whole 20,000 Leagues and Nemo and all that. So I mean, like I have no allegiance to it. So it's like, oh, I mean, it sucks to see properties like shows that have been shot and people who worked on that, and it's like, oh, that might never see the light of day. You think of like, you know, like Batgirl and stuff, or Batwoman, whatever that was, and it's like, oh, that was a completely finished thing, and it's like, no, we're just gonna scrap it and take the tax hit, and it's like, that sucks. As someone in the creative industry and creative field, I hate seeing stuff just shelved, and it's like, well, that's game
years
over.
Of people's lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's my biggest issue with it. But as far as the actual, like, I don't feel anything for, like, I wasn't like, oh, Spiderwick, here we go, like, right. So,
real Spiderwick head.
Yeah.
Jeanine, any final thoughts on this?
None at all.
None at all. She's like,
no thoughts.
She's as tired as we all are. That's a lot of information today.
Yeah, you guys pretty much covered it.
We got a lot, and we have a lot more to talk about in the next couple episodes.
Yeah, so hopefully next episode we're gonna do a full Halloween ep. And hopefully cover all of Hollywood Horror Nights and did I say Hollywood Horror Nights? This is where I've gotten Halloween Horror Nights and Oogie Boogie, I think, is the plan. Dave has had a recent trip to the stars,
Yes.
and he's going to have his own episode on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
TLDR,
I
RIP
will
Star Cruiser.
look-
It was amazing. It was
Aw.
worth every
Oh,
penny.
man.
It was worth every penny.
Ugh.
And I have very strong thoughts about how and why it failed or is being closed, I should say.
Sure.
And I have very interesting thoughts about what might happen later.
Very
And
cool.
we will save that for our main episode. But guys, I cried like 3 times. It is not out of nostalgia. Like
Yeah.
I'm not this massive Star Wars fan. It is the best kind of theater in that it is about connections. I made connections to characters and the actors behind those characters in extremely profound ways. That's the
Oh,
TLDR
that's
I'll
cool.
give you. It is lovely, and I would have gone back multiple times.
It is. I'm excited to hear this because it's from a perspective of someone going in knowing what's leaving, opposed to going in and just thinking this will be here for forever. So you're looking at specific things even while you're there that you normally wouldn't. You know, it's weird. It's like doing an autopsy while enjoying it at the same time. You're really thinking through everything while you're there. So I'm excited to hear the whole episode. Anyway, folks, that's it for this is a 50th week. We did all the D23, so no real segments, no Astute or Computer Hakuter this week. But we'll get back into the normal swing of things later. Jack, where can people find you, or where can they not? You're everywhere. You're a man of many internet places.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. You can check me out. I'm over on Twitter, twitter.com/Jack_P. I also stream. I'm over at Rooster Teeth Productions. We stream 3 days a week with Inside Gaming, which is my portion of the company, at twitch.tv/Rooster Teeth. And that is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 3 until 7 Central. So go check us out. We have a lot of fun over there.
Please do. They're very fun to watch, and their socials are very funny too. They have the time and energy to take out the good bits and show you that stuff too, which is always wonderful. That's it, ladies and gents. This has been a long haul. We are well past 2 hours on this baby, and I really appreciate you all being with us. For sure. Thank you so much. As the 50th, thank you guys so much for listening for 50 episodes. Do us a big favor. If you haven't already, go ahead and give us 5 stars and write a little review. Or just give us 5 stars on Apple, because all that is good. And that could be the way that you kind of give us a candle on our cake for our 50th episode. So please do that. Rat Castle, of course, is produced by yours truly, Nathan Hartman. Leave questions, buy merch, do all that business at bit.ly/Rat Castle. And now in light of 20,000 Leagues and not being done anymore, in my best James Mason, now grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?